Ladies and gentlemen, we are live here, Tornado Tag Podcast. We got a lot to cover today. Let's get some housekeeping. What, you can't hear yourself?
No, I'm good.
Oh, we want to thank the Patreon people. Thank you so much to our Patreon.
I'm good.
We have adjusted the Patreon. There will be no more bonus content right now for Patreon just because it is hard to manage everything and going on. And we do have some other announcements when it comes to other shows if you haven't heard already. But first off, we want to say the Patreon is $1 or $5. It's pretty much just general support at this point.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to do $5, you do $5. If you want to do $1, you want to do $1. I think what I'm going to do is anyone who does more than the $1, I'm going to put your name in like a raffle once a month and just give you guys a free piece of merch.
Oh, there we go.
I think that's what we're going to do.
Do I sound real loud? I sound loud to myself.
You're all right. You project a little better than I just had a guest on and he was a little quieter, so I had to. No, you're good. I adjusted you.
Delicious dish.
So we want to thank Tommy B, the Tree of Life Metaphysical Shop, Brad Zalonis, Hireth in Other Words Podcast, Jay, and Austin Blackwell.
That mysterious Jay.
That mysterious
Who is
Jay.
That? Who is that man and woman?
We
don't know.
We'll find out.
It's a guy.
Okay.
And we'll kiss him on the face.
Whoa, hey.
Unless he doesn't want us to, but I'm sure he'll accept it. And we also want to thank
content is one.
And we want to also thank our sponsor, Abaddon Tattoo Studio, unique professional experience nestled in the small town of Pine Grove, Pennsylvania. They provide high quality tattoos and piercings in a relaxed and professional environment. So that's housekeeping out of the way. We want to say real quick, if you are a fan of the network and you did listen to multiple shows, we will no longer be doing Not Cool in High School or Truth Behind Illusion. We scrapped both those shows for the time being. Just behind the scenes, I work night shift. I'm working Monday through Thursday at night, and then I try to cram in my entire weekend into 3 days.
It's tough.
It's hard. And trying to do the social media pages and everything, it's just really hard to try to do all 5 podcasts. So we cut it down to 3. The interviews one is kind of just like people can show up, we talk, I post it and call it a day. I'm pretty much taking a lot of our efforts and I'm putting it into the other 2 because I feel like they're getting some traction and there's more opportunities. We're getting opportunities to go to events and everything like that. And you just can't dip your toes into too many things with little time. So we're gonna if things change, maybe we'll bring those 2 shows back. But for now, we're just going to be interviews with everyday people.
You gotta say indefinite hiatus.
Indefinite hiatus.
Or sabbatical.
Yeah.
That's what we call it in wrestling. No, he's on a sabbatical.
He's on a sabbatical. And then
Lost to lose, leave town then.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Tornado Tag and Banging Beers.
The podcast is going to leave, learn a new hold, and come back.
Yeah.
Pretty soon it'll be Not Cool in High School under a mask.
Yeah, under a mask.
We already have a comment saying
not cool in college.
Not gonna lie, I'm here to see Andy Header. You are the man, Mr. Header.
Thank you, whoever your name is. I can't read it from this.
Rob
distance.
White XL.
Rob White.
What a gentleman.
I don't. Yeah, great guy. I don't know Rob White offhand. But thank you for listening.
Absolutely. So like, share, subscribe definitely helps us out. We did just add more stuff to our merch pages. Teespring has been updated. They added some new stuff. So there's pint glasses, travel mugs.
A pint glass. That's cool.
T-shirts are up there. Like I said, Teespring's a little more expensive than TeePublic.
Okay. Which one's running sale right now?
TeePublic is running a sale, up to 35% off all merchandise on TeePublic. But the Teespring makes a little more money, so you can whatever one you want to do. The Teespring is front and back. You have like the thing. With the logo
nice.
On the back, and TeePublic is just kind
of. A lot of times you get paid more for front and back.
Yeah. So that's up there. So you guys want to support us? That is also a thing. If you are listening and you're a fellow podcaster, I am starting a new little side thing. More or less a private group to kind of unite everybody.
Facebook group.
Yeah, Facebook group to kind of unite everybody. So if you're into wrestling and you have wrestling content, if you are a wrestler and you do any like a stream, we have some streamers on there, some podcasters, reviews, anything like that, hit us up. I do have a private little group that we have established, and it's pretty much to just kind of put everybody over. There's a whole bunch of programs out there, a whole bunch of people. We help share each other's content, trying to grow each other's community pages, and just trying to link up and we're stronger with numbers than we are by ourselves. And that's kind of my philosophy, and we want to help each other out. So if you are interested, shoot me a message, and we'll get you in that group. And let's get into some local news.
And before that, I understand we have some extra competition on Friday night tonight.
Oh,
but if you think about switching to TNT and not watching Tornado Tag Podcast, let me tell you something.
What's the main event?
Miro is going to beat the mask guy with a camel clutch that wouldn't win an AAU title in Tehran.
Oh,
there it is.
I'll put some
I don't know. I don't know if that's going to happen. It's assuming that Miro's going to beat people.
Hey, we might be done before 10.
Yeah, we might be.
Hey, there's TiVo.
Yeah. So
or DVRs.
and there's always reruns of this. So you can always check that out.
You can go on an illegal streaming site and watch the shows for free.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that.
My friend Taima always watches AEW.
My friend Taima always watches wrestling on his TV.
Yeah. Well, let's get into some local news and some
Yes.
well, not local, but just wrestling news.
Well, wrestling news, I guess a big one, we did talk about the mass cuts not too long ago.
Mhm.
It's more people, was that since the last episode?
I believe so. I think, yeah.
Braun Strowman cut,
Yeah.
Aleister Black cut, and Santana Garrett.
Yeah, the one that everyone
Ruby
was
Riott.
like, she's still on the roster. Nothing against her. She's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ruby Riott, and then Buddy Murphy.
Buddy
Yeah.
Murphy, and Lana.
Oh yeah, Lana. I forgot about Lana.
And was there one more?
That
No,
was
Ruby
it.
Riott, we said.
Yeah,
those
yeah.
6.
I'm bummed. I was kind of telling him there's something that's going to tie into that, but I just feel like there's a lot of opportunities there for a lot of that talent, and they just weren't being used.
Mhm.
A lot of speculation that's possibly maybe a sale coming.
Yeah,
So they're trying to cut
seems
some.
to
I
say.
believed it when it first happened, and now the more I read about it, I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Not yet, at least.
Yeah. Do you think there's more cuts coming?
Yes.
I do too.
Probably. Yeah.
I think they're streamlining. I think they want to get that stock price up, and I think they realize they don't need as many people as they have.
Yeah, they were stockpiling because they didn't want everyone to go to AEW, and they're paying people to just not get somewhere else,
Yep.
which is dumb. Like, let them go somewhere else. It ain't hurting you.
Although the rumor now is they want Aleister Black back, but he might not want to come back.
Yeah.
He might want to go to AEW.
I wouldn't go back.
I wouldn't go. If you just fired me and said, "Oh, budget
Shelved
cuts,"
me for almost 2 years.
and then you see all this popularity I have, and then I might go somewhere else. Hey, we want you back. No,
Apparently, they're doing some limited cameos now too with some of the wrestlers,
Really?
including Shawn Michaels.
Really?
You get a cameo from Shawn Michaels.
how
Yeah,
about that? Jim Crab just
Tony's
did
eyes
that.
just lit up.
No, I'm not paying for a
Yeah.
cameo. Sorry, Sean.
No, that'll be way too expensive.
Yeah, like $200 probably
More than
or
that.
more.
Brett's,
we go.
I think Brett's 4.
I'm a friend of Drew Bronson. Came to a few Outbreak shows. We're friends on Facebook too. Haha. Y'all have a great night. I gotta go. Take care. Keep killing it. Thank you, man.
Thanks,
Thank you
Rob.
thank you for hanging out with us. And make sure you hit that thumbs up or whatever.
Yeah.
What are you on YouTube and subscribe? Help us out there.
Like, subscribe.
Yeah, let people know about that YouTube
All the YouTube
channel, baby.
things, as the YouTubers.
We're trying to grow that YouTube up, but I don't know. I just think I think that climate in WB is just it's bad.
It
Like,
needs a whole restructure.
they need to
Maybe
do
not how the business end works, but how the wrestling end works. They need to.
It's
redo it.
it's a tough watch.
Yeah, it's awful.
Yeah.
Raw is awful. SmackDown's all right.
Mm.
I think they should cut UK. Just cut that. I know there's good wrestlers there. Either bring them over or release them.
I think if you're in the UK, you're into it.
Yeah, but I mean, you're in the UK and you have Rev Pro right there. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to
I
say.
wonder how they view it. Like people living in the UK, how do they view that NXT UK? Do
Yeah.
they think like, oh, they're trying to come in and take over?
I wouldn't say cut
or-
it because, like I said, if there's a fan base over there, then that we're just not into. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
it's
but I mean,
kinda-
you don't hear anything about it at all.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
even other podcasts, like major ones, like, no one's talking about NXT UK.
yeah. The now when I say this is not in a hopes of type deal, but who do you think are some names that might also be on the chopping block list?
Probably keep like as I throw up Keith Lee,
Yeah, which is
Absolutely.
because I don't know what's going on with him. Some people say it might be a medical thing. I think they might be just wanting to lose weight.
Yeah,
They never liked how he looked.
I think the medical thing, it was like a suspicion thing because Mia Yim was rumored to have tested positive for COVID,
Okay.
and then he got pulled off of TV shortly thereafter.
and she
and-
came back.
And then she came back and he never did.
No,
But he's been on Twitter. He's evidently fine.
yeah. So
Yeah.
why wouldn't you use him? It's great.
So if you lose him, you most likely they're getting rid of Mia too, right?
I don't know. You would think, but maybe not because you know how they are. Ricochet, the Retribution, all of them.
Yeah.
Mustafa Ali. People I wouldn't be surprised at.
You know,
leaving.
here's my big name. I think you want to get rid of some higher names like a Braun Strowman to save some more money
Mhm.
and free up some cash, which is crazy because there's still people out there who think that WWE is not doing very well because they're not traveling. They're making more money.
Yeah. Because
than they've ever
they're
made.
not paying to take all that equipment and set up all the shows
This-
and all the cameramen and all that.
This is Nick Khan putting his stamp on the company.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But you know, Braun was getting over $500,000. Like no, over $1 million. Like I think $1.5 million per year.
that's crazy.
Like, and he was not really doing much. So I
Yeah.
kind of can see where they release him. But there was more for Braun to do, but it was bad booking.
This is now I can go either way with this where I think maybe and maybe not. But this is just one of my names I'm throwing out there. Bray Wyatt.
Maybe. I
They
mean,
don't-
the Fiend is a merchandise monster.
He's a
Yeah,
he's
no
a
pun
merch
intended.
he's a merch sales.
Yeah.
But you're also just took that entire character and just put it on somebody else,
Yeah.
which is not a good
Which
sign.
because their idea was then we have two merchandise things, a girl and a guy version.
I don't see Alexa Bliss pushing as much merch as the Fiend.
No, well, you got to wrestle too.
Yeah.
She never does,
Yeah.
and she hasn't been Fiend Alexa yet.
Yeah. So it's
Whatever
interesting.
her name would be. I don't know.
But-
What do you think Braun goes? I don't think AEW.
Apparently not the Indies. He wants like 10, 15, 20 grand.
Yeah,
a
they said
shot.
5 figures. So that's a minimum of 10 grand.
Yeah.
No Indie's going to pay that. No Indie can pay that.
Nope.
And if they can, they're going to put that towards the building and maybe 5 other names that are, you know.
Especially when you go on social media and you say that you hate the Indies.
Yeah.
They're a bunch of crybabies.
I'll never wrestle for anywhere else. Yeah, crybabies, and they don't know how it is.
I could see Japan. He could be like the Gaijin monster. in
Maybe,
Japan.
but like,
Is he that much worse than say Albert?
Yeah,
like
or Fale.
Yeah,
They do
Fale.
like them big white guys that look like, you know, big
especially a guy with a name. He was a champion before. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what his name would be. Adam Strowman.
Yeah.
Adam Strongman.
Adam Bronson.
Adam Bronson.
I feel bad.
Bronson's Strongman.
Yeah, I don't know.
No.
It's one of those things where just like they poorly booked him for for
remember
4
he
years.
was just about to cuss to win the world title like before, not the way he just did. Like what Royal Rumble when Nakamura won. That's when he was really hot, and I think they should have put the belt. He should beat Brock.
I think they should have put it on him at the when Roman got sick. I would have put it on.
Yeah.
Or how about
Remember.
when he was the Money in the Bank holder?
Yeah.
I don't even remember that.
Yeah,
That was
he had the
when-
Money in the Bank, and you know how he lost it? He got jumped by the Shield.
Oh God.
No, wait, that was Ryback. No.
No. They brought the Shield back at the very end, and Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns beat him up.
Oh,
but Dean was already out though.
He was in that cusp.
I thought it was him against Roman, and then Brock just beat everybody up.
They were teasing every now and then. We're like every now and then, like the one guy.
I kind of remember them saying the Monster in the Bank.
Yeah,
but that's how unmemorable it was.
Yeah, I might be even wrong completely, but
that's fine.
But his whole Money in the Bank thing was that was like when the Money in the Bank people were like, this is such a waste of time.
Yeah,
the last maybe 4 or 5 years of Money in the Bank has been kind of a waste.
Yeah.
I'm gonna search it up right now.
I could have sworn they like.
You might be right. I don't
know. He was about to beat
it was
Roman.
The first year they did the red Hell in a Cell too, which I didn't like.
Oh yeah, that was terrible.
I think I have it here. Yeah, it was Roman Reigns against Brock Lesnar, no contest with Mick Foley as the special guest referee. Let's see here. In the main event, Roman Reigns defended the Universal title. Oh yeah, Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. Oh no, they stopped interfering. Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler from interfering. But then Brock Lesnar came out and laid everybody.
This
out.
was in 2018.
Yeah.
So.
And then shortly after that was when Roman got sick because Roman was a champion at that point. He had just beaten Brock. And then they did in Saudi Arabia, they did Roman against Braun against Brock for the title. And then Brock beat him.
No.
Yeah.
And then
there you go.
Because they were going to put it on Rollins.
Yeah. Stephanie in the chat saying, "Hey, what's up? Going on, Stephanie?
Hi, Stephanie.
Check out her podcast,
McMahon. Watch what we say. Nobody's the greatest.
Stephanie Hardy.
I know. Oh,
yeah. Stephanie, post your links up for your podcast in there. She does a great podcast. Big fan of hers.
Cool.
She's part of our little group I was talking about earlier in the show about like everyone supporting each other. She's really talented.
What do you think Braun Strowman will wind up, Stephanie?
Yeah.
Aleister Black, I think, has the most cachet out of all these people.
It seems like you would think Braun, but Aleister's probably going to be more.
Yeah.
I mean, like his terms are going to be a little.
If you were a wrestling company, you could only hire one of this group. It'd probably be Aleister, right?
Ooh.
If you're going to hire one. Yeah, of this group that got released. I would say if you could hire them all, you'd be like, what? Take them all. Although I don't. Lana, I mean, you can put Lana back with Miro.
Yeah.
I mean,
if I'm trying to build a big women's division, I would
hire Ruby Riott. But I mean,
I don't know.
If I had the choice, I would hire Aleister Black / Tommy.
I would go Aleister Black just because I've never heard any possible dirt on him. Like never heard, but Murphy had a little bit of thing going on, rumors. It's all rumors and innuendo, but supposedly he had some stuff going on.
I don't know.
I don't know about that. I know why Andy wouldn't want him, just jealousy.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I heard
that's why he can't come on.
I heard that breakup wasn't good.
Oh, okay.
Oh my God. Well then fuck him.
Yeah.
No, he's a good wrestler, but I mean, I think there's more you could get out of Aleister Black.
Yeah, 100%. And he's a package deal with.
I guess you would get her eventually. You know,
that's a 1-2 punch right there.
Good manager, and she wrestles. And wrestling's not.
If I'm AEW, I want Tommy on as the leader of your Dark Order, and then I want Thea Trinidad back with Andrade.
Yeah. If I was them, I would hire everyone but Braun.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, Lana's 100% going there.
Well, probably you would think, unless she doesn't want to be in wrestling anymore. But I think she would be with Miro and then be like, she should still be Russian though. She should be CJ the Russian.
I love
or
it.
Donna.
Yeah. I think out of all of them, who I want to see work quicker, like to get.
Mhm.
I mean, they're all great talents, but I really like Ruby Riott, and I was just she was on a right before she blew her knee out. She was on a push, like she was going against Charlotte for the title,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh man, maybe we're gonna get something new here. And then
And she's not long-haired blonde, so
yeah,
you know,
she's a different look. She does the. I mean, I'm not a huge
I would
deathmatch fan,
think-
but she's not afraid to do that kind of stuff.
I would think she would go to AEW. I mean, where else? NWA? I can see Santana Garrett and Buddy Murphy wind up in NWA.
She's one of those names I kind of hope does the indie circuit for a little bit now that the indies are
Yeah.
back and we get to see her like at shows.
You want to see her at camp, is what you want.
Yeah.
If she can go to Camp Leapfrog, I'll be a happy boy.
You never know.
Yeah.
I'd like to see Buddy Murphy in New Japan.
Yeah.
I think that's where he would fit best.
What about Buddy Murphy at ROH or Impact?
Impact, you'd be like, but he's just kind of nerd guy there. Because Impact is like when they get people, it's just kind of like, oh no, I'm in Impact, and just blend in. ROH would be a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
I think he'd do really
I
well.
don't know what his real name is. Obviously, it'd have to be a different name.
Yeah. Well, what about the other releases? The his part of his training class, the Iconics are still out there.
Oh, they are out there. I mean, not the best wrestlers, but very entertaining. Good managers.
Give them microphones.
Buddy Murphy has a rather generic real name, Matthew Adams.
Oh, Matt Adams. Then he has to be like Adam Matthewson or something.
He's like a creative character.
Yeah.
The Off Her Chops, the podcast with them is really, really good. The Iconics.
Oh, is it?
It's
good.
Really funny. Billy Kay is hilarious.
I like them both. I mean, they're not that great in the ring. Peyton a little bit better in the ring, but I mean, as a package deal,
Cassandra
as
and
Cassie Lee and
I
forget the other one's name.
Oh my goodness,
their new working names.
No, they're real. Yeah, they're actual names.
Yeah, but I know that the one wrestling is going to be Cassie Lee. That's Peyton.
Cassandra is Peyton, and
Billy is.
I know her real name is Jessica McKay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Jessica. Yeah.
So I don't know if they'll. I don't like AEW can't hire everybody, but they can start letting some people go to hire people. They could do that.
Well, I mean, they're getting what now 3 different shows, so they can start spreading the wealth out.
Well, Cody was on a call and said they have a big roster and looking to make it bigger. I'm like, well,
you have another show. You have 3 shows. You can spread out some wealth and get some more eyes.
4 they're gonna have because they have Dark and Elevation, and then whatever the new one's called.
Yeah,
Rampage, right?
Yeah, I believe.
And then Dynamite. So
I think AEW is doing well. I think they're doing it right. They're doing it right.
And it's there's some stuff that's not so good, but for the most part, it's an entertaining show.
Yeah. It's a much easier watch than
it is.
Raw.
2 hours sometimes you're like, well, we're at the main event already.
Mm-hmm.
Raw, it's like, oh, we got 2 hours left.
Yeah. And they're making people who I wasn't huge fans of WWE,
mm-hmm.
in my eyes, like superstars in AEW. Like people I'm really excited to see on TV. Another guy who I wasn't high on WWE, and I wasn't high when he went to AEW, and I wasn't high when the Impact just had a pretty big weekend.
I'm trying to think.
Matt Cardona.
Oh yeah, I think that the angle with the Nick Gage is fantastic. And I don't like the best shit he ever did.
It's the best work he's ever done. And the fact that everyone was flipping him off. And then he goes on Twitter and goes, "Oh my God, what a warm reception. I can't wait to see all my amazing fans again."
I was dying when he called himself an ECW original.
And the best is, yes, he was in WECW. And there's people on the message boards on Facebook saying, "You weren't in the real ECW." I'm like, there you go. Hook, line, and sinker, got him.
His trainer was.
Yeah. The whole thing of him doing the Moxley pose, taking the mask off, and then like the instant, like, I'm ready to cheer, so I'm going to cheer as soon as the mask off. Yay! Wait, that isn't Moxley. Because he has the beard, he has the hair. Like,
he fucking killed it. That was his best work.
Don't expect a crazy death match. Expect a more along lines of Mox versus Kenny.
Mm-hmm. Does he take the pizza cutter?
No. He's a light tube.
Light tubes, yeah.
Thumbtacks, chairs, ladders. But I mean,
would you take the pizza cutter?
No.
I wouldn't. He scares the shit out of me. If I ever go to a show he's at, I'm just gonna be like,
I heard he's intimidating, but a nice guy.
Oh, I heard he's a sweetheart.
He's not gonna walk around hitting people with light tubes.
But what a piece of business that was.
Yeah.
Him come out, and then he gives him the Mox DDT and takes the mask off. Oh, it's that right.
I'm just so amazed having literally like. I was at that Break the Barrier show with him and Justice Payne in '99, where they kind of got put on the map a little bit. To see Nick Gage being like the most over babyface in indie wrestling,
it makes no sense.
In the last 2 years is amazing, and I love it.
It's crazy.
Yeah, Stephanie said Raw is on the struggle bus. You're 100% right, and it is the Hardy Wrestling Podcast.
Okay, so the Hardy Wrestling Podcast.
And I will say this: she's solo. And she kills it.
That's a tough job.
I could never do it solo.
That's a tough.
A lot of respect for her. I wish I very, very soon I would like you to join us one week, Stephanie, and
whenever you can
talk wrestling with us. Yeah.
I want to watch the match then. Zack Ryder versus Nick Gage. The first time I said I want to watch both of them wrestle.
Yeah, I'm into it. That's why I said he killed it.
And it's great that somebody had the smarts to say to Zach, hey, when you come here, everyone's gonna hate you.
Mm-hmm.
So, or maybe he said that,
or
everyone's
act like
gonna
you're
hate
Moxley.
You. Yeah, and that whole idea was so brilliant to do that.
It was.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch next pay-per-view. Maybe through
Already
means,
sold.
but
Already sold me. You sold me
Yeah.
on one.
Game changer wrestling, everybody.
Yep.
Matt Cardona versus Nick Gage.
Who
Rules of the match to be determined.
Who would have fucking thought?
I know.
What else we got in the news?
More locally, big weekend this weekend. Indie
Yes.
wrestling coming back.
I'm terrified.
Yes, you are. Yeah.
I'm fucking terrified.
You'll be all right. So this place that they're going to run is also an MMA gym.
Where
The PPW is going to run in Broadheadsville.
Broadheadsville.
I forget the name of the building, but it I believe Alpha Junior, one of the Samoans from out of town are like the owners of the actual building, but then there's also an MMA gym and a real gym, and at the other end is an antique store.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's going to be pretty cool.
So first off, I want to say thank you to Paul Bowe
Mhm.
and the entire everyone at PPW giving me an opportunity to do my commentary debut.
How about it?
I don't know if this is something that you're going to see more of me, because I don't know if I'm even going to be good at it.
Well, as long as you're like, how much does this guy weigh?
Yeah.
Is this one of the wrestlers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a maneuver.
I know I'm not going to be good, right? I just don't want to be
No, with that
terrible.
attitude,
Yeah. But you got to go in and just
Like I want to be above, like, just above terrible. Like I just like I know
terrible.
like, because
Well,
listen,
you've seen how comedy.
yeah,
You've seen
commentary.
how commentary works.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
think
but you do
anytime you
have-
do something your first time, you're going to struggle.
Yeah.
I just don't want to be awful at it.
Well.
That's just my goal. Just don't be
Well,
awful.
who's doing it with you? Is there two people?
Me, Julie's, and Paul.
Oh, but there you go. Anytime you don't do, just bow out.
I'm more confident.
You know, the working at the commentary table is the.
Writing stuff down.
So I mimicked writing something down and
Yeah.
over because no one can see that.
I have notepads, so I went out and
Yeah,
bought.
yeah. Take one
I went
and
out
take
and bought
a pen.
notepads.
and you can write stuff down, but also have one to write stuff down that you can communicate with the two commentaries.
Yeah, and I also have a notepad. Like I'm gonna put like little stats of people.
Yeah, yeah. What? Hey, brother, what do you want me to say?
The only thing I'm nervous about, and this is not like a thing like am I allowed to be like, hey, this match is this person and they wrestled a couple weeks ago at this promotion and they had a really good match.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they're like, don't talk about other like I don't know the rules. You know what I mean? So I have
think
to figure it
they're
out.
okay with that, but yeah, just ask that right at the beginning.
Yeah.
Because that makes you seem more.
Because if I feel like if you're bringing me in as a
Or
podcaster,
sometimes they say, you mention it, but don't say the name. So you'd be like, this guy is a champion elsewhere. So you got to use the like that talk.
Yeah.
Like you talk around it.
And then
He
Sunday,
had a great match with so and so in Delaware. You know?
Yeah. And then Sunday I'll be doing commentary again.
Yeah. So there you go. You're really jumping in the pool.
Yeah, Trial by Fire for the Sanctuary,
Yeah.
Hazleton, which is what a venue.
Yeah, beautiful.
And PPW, by the way, is at Signature Training Academy, 137 Erin Lane, Broadheadsville.
Let's go down the match list.
So we'll go PPW first. This is
Yeah.
PPW. What's it called?
The Return.
The Return.
PPW, The Return. Gonna see.
There he goes, Rosh. You'll be fine. You got this.
Yeah, there we go.
Dude, he's
Rosh.
been the
He's going to be at Sanctuary.
Yes, he has been my biggest cheerleader. He's
Cool.
been super, super helpful.
And we work with Pete. Pete is great. I'm sure Pete will tell you, just bow out, let him handle it, and just fall off Pete.
Yeah.
He's been doing it for
DVA
years.
Mechanics, thank you for the heart. Little Pride Month heart. I like that. And then Dave, another podcaster hanging out with us.
Oh,
Thank
wow,
you guys
lots
so
of people
much.
coming. That's great. Thanks, guys.
All right, let's run down that list.
I'm just trying to find where these start. Let's start at the table.
Let's start at the table. At the head of this
TV
table.
title.
Yes.
WYLN Television
Yeah,
Championship.
WYLN. I would say subscribe to it, but you can. It's a local TV channel. Watch if you're in the
Use your
Hazleton
rabbit
area.
ears.
Yeah.
Here's the
Also on YouTube at PPW Entertainment.
here's an interesting thing.
Mhm.
Our next week's guest.
Yeah.
Is your
my God.
One way or the
Oh,
other,
I
next
can't be on
week
the
the
show.
PPW TV champion will be
Somebody's
on the show.
got to
next week.
win. Somebody's got to lose. Daddy.
It's gonna be a fun topic. So possibly we may have sour grapes here next week.
So the champion will be on the show.
The champion will be on the show.
I advertise
The
that.
WYLN TV champion
Will be on the show.
will be on
no
next
matter what.
week's show. Will it be Andy Header or
the
Johnny
loser
Moran?
will also be on the show.
And the loser will also,
How
unless,
about that?
unless
That's wrestling. Baby.
yeah, it's gonna be fun.
That's
Now,
wrestling.
now is Andy's seat at the table on the line?
Yeah,
Oh,
is that on the line? Johnny takes over.
I will say this: I want to complete breaking kayfabe here. Johnny is he's in the same boat as Andy, where literally since very, very early on in this podcast, he's been super, super supportive of us.
Absolutely.
Super, super nice to us. John, he does a lot with Alex and High Tension Wrestling, and we're proud to be a part of that family as well. The reason I'm even getting an opportunity at the Sanctuary is because Johnny put my name in.
Cool.
So huge props to you, man.
yeah, nice guy.
I love Johnny to death, but Eventually, one of you just have to die.
Somebody
know?
has to win. Somebody has to lose. So it is us for the WYLN.
Oh, maybe he'll get himself
TV
counted
title.
out. Maybe he'll get himself
son of a
disqualified.
bitch, yeah.
I will say
No
this.
good, Johnny
But
Murray.
still, somebody's still a champion.
I will say
We're
this.
the show.
If Johnny were to lose,
Yes.
he is one title away, the world championship.
Oh, from being a Grand
to
Slam?
be a
Yes.
Grand Slam
Wow.
of PPW. And Johnny's also wrestling for another title Sunday at Sanctuary.
Really? Wow. Oh, that's right. And he's putting his career on the line.
Career on the line, Daddy-o.
So if he loses,
He's
but if
done.
I win, it'll be my first title. How about that?
Your
Well,
first-
for PPW.
Your first title at PPW,
That's-
yeah.
yeah,
Very, very exciting.
Yeah. So that'll be the one match. We got one match down on the card.
Opening the show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
And you might be somewhere else that day.
Maybe it's open the show.
Yeah.
Maybe
Who
it's the main event. I
Card
don't know.
subject to change.
Cards in the change. All right, next match.
Next match is KC Navarro,
Ooh.
PPW mainstay KC Navarro, against a guy making his return very recently to
Mhm.
professional wrestling, Davey
Davey
Richards, the former ROH champion.
Yes, one half of the American Wolves. Well, former American Wolves with Eddie Edwards.
If Casey were to go over in this match, he would have a win over two promotions world champions.
Well, Davey's not the reigning champion.
But I'm saying former
world
champions.
Okay.
Because if he beats him, he beats that's ROH, and he beat
Davey Richards, was he ever the Impact champion?
I think ROH. You
No,
said
Eddie
ROH.
Edwards was.
Yeah.
not
Eddie
Davey.
Edwards.
Yeah.
Well, you
I
said
don't
this
think
guy was
Davey-
ROH champion, right?
Yeah, Davey was. Yeah, his
Yeah.
partner was.
But he beat Rich Swan.
Okay, there you go.
in
Former
a-
How
in
Impact
about it?
in
Yeah.
that
And
triple
Davey
threat
was
match.
also what was the group with him and Roddy and
Generation Next.
was he in that? Or was
No,
it,
that was
was
way
it,
later.
um,
That was way later.
No Remorse.
No
Squad?
Remorse Court.
No Remorse
Rem-
Court. Yeah.
The first match I ever saw Davey Richards wrestle in Ring of Honor was against Kenta.
Oh wow.
It was the night of the Joe Danielson 1 hour draw.
Wow. I always liked David Richards. He took a break. I think he was a teacher or
Firefighter.
firefighter. Yeah. So
Okay.
he took a break from wrestling, come back. So that should be a good match. Next match.
Next match.
Our next match, another one of the non-local. Well, one of these guys is local, but you have Eric Rowan or Redbeard, whatever they may be calling him, against Alpha Jr.,
Wow.
formerly Manu.
Yeah.
of WWE.
So two former WWE.
Two former
guys.
WWE.
How about
Yeah.
that?
All right.
And then you have.
You're just going what's on the paper.
I'm going. I'm,
Yeah, I don't
I'm on
know
their website.
what
I'm
the order
on their
would be.
Facebook. This is all from PPW Entertainment on Facebook, I should say. And then you have for the women's title,
Mhm.
Ooh, this is exciting.
the juggernaut of the PPW women's division, Christina Marie, defending against Adina Steele.
The juggernaut of like Northeast wrestling.
Yes, Northeast women's
Yes.
wrestling. Yes.
Christina.
She
is-
should be in the Super 8.
She should be in the
Yeah.
Super 8. We'll get to that.
Maybe next year.
That's on the list.
Yeah.
That's on the list to talk about.
I should be in the Super 8.
You
Not
should
the
be in the
girls, one of the guys. Anyway.
Adina. Well, here's the thing, man. Last time that Adina and Christina squared up, Christina squashed her.
Oh, really?
Squashed her.
Wow.
And then Adina really has been working hard to
Mhm.
rebuild herself. Like I would say one of the pandemic stories, besides yourself, you and Johnny also looking very good post pandemic,
That's right.
working out
Correct.
hard. Adina has also been living in the gym.
Yeah. I mean, Dina had a match since this last paper.
Really?
Oh, yeah, an Outbreak,
At
right?
Outbreak. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
It's on Quarantine Files on
Quarantine
Outbreak
Files.
YouTube.
So she's been killing it, man. She's been going out there. She's getting better. Is it enough to conquer Christina Marie? We'll
Oh,
find
we'll
out
see.
Saturday.
By the way, in the last 15 years, here are the people who have won the Wrestling Observer Award for Most Outstanding Wrestler.
Ooh.
In the last 15 years, going back to 2006. Brian Danielson has won it several times. Hiroshi Tanahashi has won it. Kazuchika Okada has won it.
Okay. I like this list so far.
AJ Styles has won it. Kenny Omega has won it. Will Ospreay has won it. And one other person has won it within the last 15 years. And that's Davey Richards.
Wow.
Wow.
How about
He
that?
won it in 2011.
Get out. Get
That's-
out.
it's a
What a
bit-
list.
Yeah.
Fantastic wrestlers.
Yeah.
And so, that's another thing. Davey Richards is a big name. He's
Mhm.
come back with MLW recently. He will be there, and another MLW guy who was a PPW, not mainstay, but he used to be there quite a bit. Richard Holiday is gonna be on the show.
Yeah.
He was in a stable in MLW with MJF and
Yeah, they were the tag champions.
Alex Hammerstone. Yeah. I
Mhm.
forget the something. I forget the Empire. I want to say something like that. I don't know.
And then for the tag team titles, we have a
That's exciting.
four-way.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Four-way for the tag titles. The Ascension, former.
Yeah.
I think
Are they
maybe,
still going by Ascension? I mean, they're booked as the
that's
Ascension.
what
I don't know what their name is.
I'm going by what I'm reading on the page, and I'm
Yeah.
reading Eric Rowan, and I'm reading the Ascension.
Yeah.
I'm going by PPW.
Connor and Victor.
Yeah. They're going to be going against South Philly's finest.
Real quick, sorry. Did they? I know they were a force in
NXT.
Did they ever get titles?
They were a dominant tag team title champion.
They were champs.
They were tag team champions. They were the champions when NXT came onto the network. The first NXT takeover, before NXT had like really gotten a foothold, when the network was brand new. I think it was even before that first WrestleMania on the network.
Yeah.
That first takeover, the main event was when Adrian Neville, Pac, he beat Bo Dallas for the title. And you had Cesaro against Sami Zayn. And you had Paige and Emma for the first women's title when Paige won the women's title.
That was good too.
Wow, that's how far this goes back.
Yeah.
So it's like 2015?
14, I think. It was right before WrestleMania 30. And the Ascension were the tag team champions, and they beat Too Cool. It was a guest appearance by Too Cool.
How about that?
I do miss the Fashion Files. Remember when they did the Fashion Files?
Oh, yeah, that was kind of good.
That was Brazango. Yeah. Oh, no, they were in it too. Yeah,
they were in it.
If you go way back, I miss Connor on NXT, old NXT with Redemption, where everybody said he was a rat because he kind of looked like a rat, and he would always find cheese and chase cheese on the floor.
When they got brought to the main roster, they were kind of
they got
done dirty right off the bat.
They got
like a joke. Yeah.
But it'll be the Ascension, South Philly's finest, the tag team champions, the main event, and the Sambo show.
That's
in a four-way for the tag team titles.
Any picks? You have any picks here?
I think the champs retain. Main event has been.
I would say, yeah.
Main event has been on point. They have not rested on their laurels at all during this pandemic. AEW, Camp Leapfrog, they have been at it, and they are. I think they keep the titles.
I will say this. SPF, we got to see in a couple weeks ago. Looked great.
At WXW?
At WXW. Also seen Sambo show. Sam Adams coming off a really bad motorcycle accident.
Did he break his leg? Or
it was rough. He had his leg. Yeah, his leg was pretty rough. He looks good.
Good for him.
They both look good. So it's gonna be exciting to see these three.
A lot of people have gotten in great shape, myself excluded.
Yeah. So this is going to be. I mean, I know main event stayed ready, but so did the other two tag teams. So it's going to be really exciting to see.
The Ascension, you never know. It could be back.
Yeah. Remember when Bully Ray came won the title for like 2 shows?
Yeah.
And
Austin Aries was the champion.
Yeah. So you never know.
Yeah.
Chris Slade will be making his PPW debut.
Mm-hmm. Chris Slade's very good. He was in Outbreak. I don't know if you've seen him.
Yes. Yeah, I remember seeing him.
Kind of reminds me of Will Ospreay, not look, but in style.
Yeah. Very flippy.
Yes.
Very flippy dippy.
So you see some acrobatics whenever he's in the ring. We have some qualifying matches for the PPW title tournament.
Yeah, because the heavyweight title has been declared vacant.
Yes.
So vacant and picks up another title.
Gio says South Philly's finest goes over. There would be like the 38th time tag team champion.
Hey, how many times has New Day been the WWE tag champions?
100.
Like 11? Yeah.
Andy Fatter. I'm not sure where that. We're a little behind. And then High Tension hanging out with us. The Awakening. What's going on, bud?
Oh, is that maybe he means the Ascension's new name is the Awakening?
Oh, the Awakening.
Yeah, they're billing them as the Ascension on here, but the Awakening.
What if it's like calling them Kichter and Fawner? You had to think about
it. like one of those like wrestling video games.
It's like slightly different, but you can change their name.
Yeah, I like that.
Connor with a C.
All right, next match.
So this is a 3-way match, and the winner advances in the tourney to crown a new PPW champion. It's Joey Martinez, Bull Hightower, and Prince Noah.
Okay. Joey used to wrestle, I believe, as Joey Lugo or something like that. Yes. And I wrestled him years ago.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen him, but another guy looks great. So
I don't know. Are they crowning the champion tonight?
I don't believe so.
Doing the first round.
This is just the first round because I know 2 people who aren't on this show are in the mix for the title. Deshaun Pratt.
Yes.
And I believe Bro Keller as well.
Bro Keller with the long hair now.
I know. I think it looks pretty good.
It looks awesome. Yeah. It looks real good.
He's got a haircut since Corona started.
I like it. I like the long hair. He better keep it.
I hope he keeps it too.
Yeah,
I'm going to tell him that when I see him.
Yeah. Like, keep that hair.
Yeah.
Deshaun Pratt's in a tournament that he can win the title. And if he doesn't, he can just cash in.
Well, let's leave it. They still have it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's sold out on that one.
Yeah.
He better cash. I would just be like, I'm cashing in now. I'm champ.
That's what.
Just bring a suitcase. No matter. Hey, look, there's a Dodge on here.
Another 3-way with a former champion in the mix here.
Yeah, the current champion. Well, a different title.
Yeah, okay. The IWA Caribbean champion, Richard Holiday, is in this match.
Mm-hmm.
Fox Vineyard, former No Limits champion, is in this match. And a former PPW champion himself, Evander James, now Mr. James, is also in this match.
Oh, then there's yet another qualifier match too. I seen.
Really?
Or maybe it's in our 3-way or 4-way. Anyway, let's keep going.
Well, there's still another. Well, there's still. This is only the first round, so maybe there's
Oh,
another.
yeah,
Yeah,
first
that might
yeah.
be for another
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
show. Rembrandt will be making his return. Not specified yet where he's going to
Maybe
be doing
Rembrandt and
that.
Chris Slade. That'd be a good one.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rembrandt. All I know is I was looking at Instagram, and they announced probably the next match you're going to talk about, right? Is it a tag match?
It is a tag match
Go ahead.
with 3 participants unveiled so far. Isaac Rule, the reigning No Limits champion, and Eugene Chandler making his debut against Antonio Rivera and a mystery partner.
Ooh, X, as New Japan always puts it.
Well, here's the deal. Rembrandt is not happy that Isaac is not defending his
I
title,
think he's going to
and
be
he wants to be.
X.
He's been calling out Isaac for a long time for that number 1 contender spot.
Oh, wow. Maybe.
Yeah. So who knows?
Yeah.
If he's coming back, he's not going to be happy. Not going to be a happy guy.
Mhm.
And here you go. Chris Slade will be at the 2300 wrestling table at the Legends of Hamburg Fieldhouse in July 24th.
They just announced that. Yeah.
Yeah. So cool. Awesome, man. You guys are bringing some heat too.
A lot of people are going to be there. So we'll go over that then.
Yeah.
Now, what I want to know is at our table, we're going to have Andy Header and Johnny Moran.
Oh, Jesus.
The TV champion will be at that table as well.
We have to get to the
Jesus.
24th. We all know that.
Yeah.
We don't know that.
Oh, yeah. They just could be in their show.
Just whoever wins, just hide.
Yeah.
Go into hiding.
Oh, my God. I hope we wrestled somewhere else, too.
At our table, you will have the winner or loser
And loser.
Winner and
loser
loser.
of the WYLN
No
PPW
matter
championship.
what.
We're going to have to put CB in between them to keep the peace.
Any way you slice it. Oh, my God.
Yeah. So then that's
That's the card that we know.
that's
of.
pretty much the card we know of. Yeah.
And then also you're going to be working in Reading that day. as
Yes,
well, right?
RCW at the Riverside Beneficial Building right next to the
Stadium, right?
Yeah, where the Reading Phillies play.
Yeah.
It's like right behind it. It's the little one WPW used to run there years ago. So it should be a good they only announced a few matches there. John Moran also on that show.
Yeah.
So the winner and loser of the TV title will also be wrestling
Maybe
in
you and
Reading.
Moran will just work your way into a tag team.
Yeah. And that way we can win and lose together.
We'll both be the champ.
Yeah. And then it's easier for us as the fans
Yes.
to
Yes.
not have to pick and choose.
Yeah. So 2 shows going on tomorrow that I know.
Well, whenever it's Andy and Johnny Moran, the real winner is the fan.
yeah, there you
I
go.
agree.
There you go.
Yeah. I'm very excited to see you guys work.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too. We wrestled in ACW, but obviously when Alex was there actually. So
Yeah.
Alex was watching him and I believe the Maestro came.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. That was like the last show I did, I think, maybe before show stopped. ACW, I believe.
Really?
Oh,
Oh, wow.
It might have been that one. Might have been one other one.
GCW was on my last.
Oh, maybe that
GSW,
was.
yeah.
Yeah,
was it
that was-
GCW or was it
GSW.
Maybe that
GSW
was-
or was it Outbreak?
No, it was a few weeks after. It was February 29th. It was the same night as that AW pay-per-view. It's where
Okay.
Moxley won the title.
Yeah, maybe I wrestled Johnny right like the Friday because the Reverb shows are always on Friday.
Mhm.
It could have been that Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the last show that I went to with Tony. Was the one in
Oh yeah,
at
and
the,
up in,
at the True Mill.
yeah, True Mill. Yeah.
Where you had the 3-way with blue and gold.
And you'll never
Diamond
see
City.
wrestling in that building anymore.
No,
That's done. It's dead
it's
forever.
a shame.
It's dead forever.
Yeah. Well,
It's a cool building.
I mean, they said there would never be wrestling in the ECW arena again. And,
Here we are.
yeah,
I still have to go to that arena. I have to.
it's wonderful.
I still have to experience it.
I will.
I have not wrestled a match there, so I really want to do that.
Yeah. All right. Well, do we have anything else for the local news? Because we
No,
are getting a
you're
little.
saying Sanctuary. show.
Oh yes, thanks. I don't. The card is still kind of like a TB to determine.
I know
thing.
it's Johnny Moran versus someone.
Yes, that is the
title
main.
versus career.
Hold on, I have a little bit here, but it's so we have Johnny Moran versus Marcy Cabrera. I'm
Mhm.
terrible with names, so this
Cabrera,
is probably
I'm
good.
gonna guess?
Cabrera. Yeah.
Hawthorne versus Kit Raff.
Yeah. Hawthorne was announced. I was announced. I'm actually really excited because I've never actually seen Hawthorne wrestle.
It's great.
But I know
When do
him-
you see him.
I know him personally,
Yeah,
but I've never seen him wrestle yet. So I'm
I
really
told him, I
excited.
said, "You're fucking really good."
He worked
and in a
really
short
fucking
time,
hard.
In a short time, he's gotten very good.
He worked really, really hard.
Yeah.
I'm not like, listen, I'm a chubby dude,
Yeah.
but me and him were like in the same boat,
Mhm.
and then he just fucking worked his ass
Yeah.
off in the gym.
What's going on with the PA wrestling people that lose weight?
Yeah,
Left
he's
and right.
Well, he's definitely, and he,
There's another guy, Stockade, that wrestled in ACW. He dropped like 50 pounds or something.
Yeah.
Looking great. Yeah.
yeah. So I don't know exactly who's on the card or what's been announced, but I
I
know
would
that
just
one has been
any
announced.
match graphics you see.
But I'm very excited also for the Kit Raff because I'm a huge.
Yeah.
I like Kit Raff a
that
lot.
match should be very good. I think
Yeah.
that might be the only 2 that were announced.
It may be. Yeah.
I know one thing they did announce for any wrestlers in the area is that on Friday the 25th from 5 to 8 for a $20 fee at the Sanctuary, there is a Ace Austin Summer School Clinic.
Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah.
Ace is really good. I mean, so that
Do we
You only
do
get
we
better
not do we
promo.
not record on a Friday to go see a Friday Sanctuary show?
Well, it's not a show.
It's not a show. It's a clinic.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
clinic.
so it's like a seminar.
Do we pay the money just to go see
Yeah.
the
No.
clinic and not record?
Yeah, no.
Are you guys here? No, no.
No.
Maybe him.
Yeah.
I think Andy's a little bit older than me, so he might not want to do a clinic.
Yeah. So if you are interested in that, definitely go hit him up. Here's the thing that I'm still trying to figure out. Like, not figure out, but like I'm wondering. They have the Sanctuary $5 for Sanctuary season pass members.
I don't know how that works either because it kind of seems like for $5 you can watch all the shows, but I think it means.
From what I thought, it's free unless you don't have a pass, and then it's $5. So
Oh, okay.
I will say this: I'm new to the Sanctuary realm, right?
Yeah.
So this Sunday I'm going to go there. I'm really going to get my feet wet and learn a lot about it.
Mhm.
But this is definitely something that's on my radar. That's going to stay there. Like,
Yeah.
I'm very excited what they're doing there. The venue is something I've always liked and looked at. So I'm very excited to be kind of in the door now. And you're going to hear a lot more Sanctuary on this podcast.
Yeah.
Definitely going to hear a lot
Should we
more.
learn more about? We'll explain the whole pass.
Another
if,
thing.
if Rosh is still there, maybe he can comment. You can explain the $5 pass.
Oh, here it is. $5 single day or $50 for the season pass.
Oh, well, there you go. And they do want a show once a month, just about. So if they do, that would be 12 shows for $50.
There is a show after the clinic.
Oh, wow, there is. Oh, how
Yeah.
about that?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So
Wow.
maybe we
Yeah.
do not record
about
one
that?
Friday night and go hang out.
That's great.
We go on hold 1 week.
I would assume Ace Austin will wrestle. So there you go. If you can go watch him wrestle for $5.
I want to say one more thing about the Legends Hammer Fieldhouse before we move on and get any further. That also has to deal with Sanctuary. So we've been talking about for a while now how like this landscape of professional wrestling is at this point where there's like the forbidden doors.
Mhm.
No one works with everyone, and everyone's the thing. I want to give tons and tons of props to Outbreak Wrestling because not only are they doing the Legends of Hamburg Fieldhouse, they're going to have a leapfrog match that
Mhm.
day, and then also they're going to be doing a Sanctuary match where JT Hawthorne will be wrestling Andre. Am I saying that right?
I think it's Andre.
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 But there will be a Sanctuary match at the Legends of Hamburg Fieldhouse show afterwards,
Mhm.
like at the Outbreak show.
Well, not afterwards, not after the show, like after the con.
After the
During-
con, yes.
During
So-
the outbreak.
Yeah, so-
Yeah,
I was waiting, like,
during
yeah,
the
yeah.
Outbreak show. So
Yeah.
if you pay for the con and the thing, you're actually seeing two other promotions wrestle
Yes.
on that show, which I think is beautiful. And it's exactly what wrestling needs. And it's a huge reason why I'm always trying to like find other podcasters to work together. Because the fact that your whole objective is to get people like talent over
Mhm.
and working together and having those opportunities to have these different promotions slide matches here on cards here and there is, I think, brilliant.
Yeah.
And I like it. I commend it. I want more of that to be
Yeah.
happening. And I think it's really, really exciting.
And there's crossover to begin with. Everyone will be in the Outbreak show. And who knows who from the con wants to show up on the show or will show up on the show.
Yeah.
Because, all them guys are, hey, brother, you got anything for me?
Yeah.
That's going to happen. I said to Voxus, and how many people you think are going to ask to be on the show?
That
And
fucking
he said all of them.
yeah. Well,
What?
I just
That
spoiled something.
fucking piece of shit.
I spoiled something.
What?
I thought it was already announced. That's my bad. Sorry, High Tension Retina. Well, Can't Believe Frog will be in attendance that day. Maybe a match. Who knows? We'll find out. to be announced.
Oh, hey, I wonder if they had a match who was wrestling because he didn't say anything.
My head is all fucked up today, man. I'm so stressed out. I'm nervous about these two debuts. Work was a shitty work week, and my computer was not doing very well for me later on. Earlier,
you can show up. All you gotta do is bring yourself.
yeah, I suck. Anyway,
That's all you gotta do.
let's just get to the fucking topic before I ruin anything else. So this week's topic, Brian.
This week's topic, we're going to talk about two of the more famous LGBT historical figures in wrestling. The great Pat Patterson and the one of the puppet masters of professional wrestling, Jim Barnett.
I know nothing about Jim Barnett.
Oh,
my boy.
Oh my boy. What's the dirt? Tell me the dirt.
Before you came here, I said the Jim Barnett part is just going to be him and Andy doing that voice for 20 minutes. That's all it's
Yeah.
going to be.
It is.
It's gonna be a very and I joked around saying
Oh,
I didn't know a lot
I
about
heard
Pat
there's
Patterson,
heat.
but I never really seen like Patterson matches.
Yeah.
I know of what he's
They're
done.
few and far between. I've only seen a handful.
Yeah,
besides like the Stooges.
he's
stuff.
a little before our time as well. But I mean, like, if you joined it Attitude Era, then you would be like, oh, he's just a joke character, like,
Yeah. Him and Briscoe.
yeah, Briscoe and even Slaughter. Like a lot of people are like, oh, he used to wrestle.
Yeah.
Like, they just didn't know.
You had the alley fight is a very famous one.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the old VHS tapes, there was one of the cage matches with Backlund,
He's also the first IC
the
champion.
first ever Intercontinental Champion. He won a very big tournament in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil.
Lots of people.
So many people were in this tournament, like 50,
So many
60,
they
70.
couldn't even get a proper number.
Is that what happened with the triple threat with you, Moran, and
Yes, because it's almost like
you beat him in Rio?
Yes, I did. Beat him in Rio de
That
Janeiro.
was a joke. That was off the air.
No, I just put it in. Fuck it. I don't care. I'm already burying myself tonight. Why not go more?
Oh,
Pretty
boy.
soon, you're burying yourself so deep. You're going to be doing commentary in Australia this
Yeah.
weekend. So Jim Barnett is not a wrestler,
No,
not a manager, not a announcer
not an on-screen or in the ring talent.
at all. But he was one of the most powerful people in wrestling history. He was from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. James E. Barnett.
James
And
E.
and
Barnett.
if you ever hear James E. Cornette, that's where it came from because Jim Cornette's middle name is Mark. So it's
and he's obviously not going to use that back in the day.
yeah, he
as
wasn't
a wrestler.
but he wasn't James
Well,
M. Cornette either.
Yeah.
So Barnett went to school at the University of Chicago, went up in Illinois, and he wound up just working for a wrestling company. He worked for a guy named Fred Kohler, who owned the Chicago territory. And Fred Kohler's territory had a magazine. It was called Wrestling As You Like It. And
That's a weird name for a magazine.
well, it was the 50s. I
Yeah,
guess it could be a little more long form. And so he worked in this magazine, then he worked his way over into the wrestling office, kind of like Vince Russo. Vince Russo started.
Yeah,
Well, he
Vic
started.
Venom.
Well, he
The
started.
Bite. Remember that?
I do. He started he started doing a radio show, like a time by radio show.
With what's that name?
John Arezzi.
John Arezzi. I was saying.
Yeah, then they had like a very bitter breakup, and then he wound up going to WWF and working on the magazine, and then became creative. And Barnett wasn't really a booker or a creative guy so much as he was a business guy,
Mhm.
and he was one of his big ideas that became huge, just the staple of wrestling over the next, I would say, 30, 35, 40 years. He is credited as being the inventor of studio wrestling, like not doing shows you would tape in an arena. You would do the wrestling.
Like for newer listeners, NWA Power.
Exactly. Like NWA Power is literally filmed in a TV studio. And that was his innovation.
Mhm.
Because before you would just tape a show in the arena, he would do it under the TV lights. You would have that live crowd, Memphis, Crockett,
Yeah,
like
a
everything
little-
you would see.
Added production to it.
Yeah. And then
NWA's traveling soon. They're going to start traveling.
Yeah, I think so.
for
Yeah.
pay-per-views.
I mean,
right?
Power will still always be filmed in the same place, but
Mhm.
yeah, pay-per-view I might be doing the one-off shows here and there.
Yeah.
And then Barnett left Chicago and wound up in the 50s and 60s in Indianapolis. And here and there, he would go all over the country. And he even ran opposition to the NWA in Detroit. But in 1964, him and his partner, Johnny Doyle, wound up going to Australia to check out the wrestling scene there. And they wound up creating the first big world championship wrestling before
Yes.
30 years before
This is-
almost WCW that we know.
This is called the Australian WCW.
Yeah. And it may have been at the time the biggest wrestling company in the world.
Is that something? Wrestling was that hot in Australia and New Zealand.
Mhm. And it was a nationwide territory. It
And they
wasn't,
didn't even have the Iconics yet.
no,
They weren't
they
even
weren't
born.
even born yet. They were on national TV on the 9 network. And you had major stars like Killer Kowalski, Dominic DeNucci, Spiros Arion.
Ooh.
Their biggest star, not as big of a name as those guys stateside, but their biggest star may have been a guy, Mario Milano, who was their big baby face, almost like their Hulk Hogan. And
alliteration. That's what
Mhm.
it takes.
And even in a time where, like, even your most powerful people in Hollywood, like your Rock Hudsons, who I think there was rumors that Barnett may have had something with him.
Maybe. Hey,
Um,
good for Jim Barnett. Rock Hudson was a good-looking man.
Was he completely out to everybody, or was it like
Rock
a?
Hudson, no.
No, I'm saying the
In wrestling,
Jim.
Jim Barnett, yes. In regular life, no. Like in the 1960s, you could go to jail for being gay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Like-
get killed. You
or
just
get killed,
beat
yeah.
up and killed.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
that was the world at the time.
people
in
in,
the chair.
people in wrestling, they knew. People in wrestling knew the deal about Jim Barnett.
No, look at him.
Yeah.
Look at the muscles on him. Look at it.
Oh, so he played a character.
No,
No, that
He-
was his voice.
Oh, really?
they say he may have put. People seem to think, especially people who weren't the biggest fans of him, seem to think that he tried to put on airs a little bit as far as sounding like this refined Southern gentleman that came from money and came from status. But no, that impression is literally just how Jim Barnett talked.
Yeah.
He did nothing. He was not a TV character.
Yeah.
He was a behind the
Everybody
scenes guy.
that imitates him, like JR, Jim Cornette, they all do the same. Oh boy!
Oh,
look
my
at him.
boy.
Look at him! Look at him! That's the
That's what I'm gonna do for
for your commentary.
yeah for PVW.
Look at
I'm just
the
gonna
muscles.
I'm gonna do that voice the whole time.
Look at the muscles on
Yeah.
Johnny Moran.
Mm.
I will be immediately kicked out of the building.
What's the dirt on Hawthorne? It kind of sounds like Samantha Stevens' one uncle.
Yeah.
The overly flamboyant.
Oh,
Uncle Arthur.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, Paul Lynde. So
you're drinking beer with me.
It does. This is
Would you like a beer?
I'm fine.
Would you like a sarsaparilla from Big Ben?
Yes.
And I think I brought one. I think I have another one in there.
No, I'm good. I'm
yeah.
just kidding. Yeah, Barnett was very much a behind-the-scenes character. I'm just thinking of you. They would be like on the phone with Scott Fine. I'd be like, "Look, we will fly you down here. Just come back, please."
If Scott shows up and beating him up in the parking lot,
It's my job now.
no, that's a little we talked about.
So Barnett did become a very powerful mover and shaker. He sold off WCW, the Australian version, in 1974. I think they felt the territory cooling off.
Yeah.
And they were right. It was done by like 82, 83. So he leaves that WCW and he uses some of the money he got to buy a stake in Georgia Championship Wrestling. And he was a kingmaker in Georgia. The Georgia territory was run by a wrestler named Ray Gunkel. And Ray Gunkel, he was married to a woman named Ann Gunkel, and Jim Barnett introduced them.
No,
He introduced them, and then Ray Gunkel died. I think he died of something that might have happened in the ring. Was he one of the people with Ox Baker, I think, or am I thinking of somebody else? But whatever happened, Ray Gunkel died of a heart attack. I think he might have been like the Ox Baker heart punch.
Oh yeah, sure. He died after. If that's the story, and then the storyline, he killed a man with a heart punch.
Yeah,
that's how. And people back then, he thought that.
And the thing is, like, I think people like today would be like, "That's so insensitive. You can't do that."
Yeah, I know, but back then, that was like, we're gonna make a career off that.
Yeah, if I listen, here's the thing.
If you kill me with a move, fucking use it,
dude. If I die in a car accident leaving any of these shows this weekend, say it was a heel beat me up and it killed me in the parking lot.
And please be Sanctuary. I feel bad because your wife's probably going with
Oh yeah, Brian will be in the car with me on Saturday, so he wants me to die on Sunday. That was good call.
So it's going off the rails. So Jim Barnett buys. Ray Gunkel dies, and Ann Gunkel winds up saying, "I'm taking over." And a lot of the wrestlers that were big stars at that point, Jack and Jerry Briscoe were big stars in Georgia at that point. Ole Anderson was a huge star there. I think he might have been the booker at that time. And they're like, "No, we want to take over. We'll buy you out, but we want to take charge." And she's like, "No, I'm inheriting the company. It's my company." So back then it was called Championship Wrestling from Georgia. And so they started Georgia Championship Wrestling, and there was a territory war. And Jim Barnett was the kind of kingmaker behind the scenes who got the NWA behind the wrestlers, and they forced Ann Gunkel out. They forced her out of the territory. And Jim Barnett was the president, or I believe the president of Georgia Championship Wrestling. And it was a partnership. The main people were the Briscoes, Ole, and Barnett. And Barnett became very, very powerful just in general in Georgia. He was one of the biggest wrestling fans going. This was back in the day when everybody, like, you always hear about people's grandmothers loved wrestling.
Yeah.
Old women used to love wrestling. Like, it was a thing. Like, you would always say the old ladies that would stab the heels with a hat pin.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah, take swings at them.
Stunt granny.
I don't think either one of my grandmothers were into wrestling.
My great grandmother was in the wrestling, and one of these old women that was in the wrestling was a woman named Lillian Carter. She was the mother of then Georgia Governor Jimmy Carter.
Oh,
and she loved wrestling. Her favorite wrestler was Mr. Wrestling 2.
wow.
Mr. Wrestling 2 was very, very friendly with the Carters. The old rumor is, because Jimmy Carter in 1976 is obviously elected president of the United States, and the rumor was that Mr. Wrestling 2 was going to be invited to the inauguration, but he would have had to not wear his mask.
And he wouldn't take it off.
I like it.
The other rumor is, and I think we brought this up before, that when he died, that Mr. Wrestling 2 had a sexual assault charge in Hawaii when he was like 17 or 18.
Yeah, this has come up. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we talked about it when he died. Maybe they found out, but like, no, you can't come.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, who would have known if he wasn't up there? Like, they're gonna say, "Hey, that's Mr. Wrestling 2 on that."
Yeah, they could have said wrestling superstar, whatever, but not the wrestling superstar.
No, they could just, you don't introduce everybody in inauguration.
Yeah, he just sat there.
The only person people remember from the last
sunglasses
one was Bernie Sanders because he was wearing those mittens. That's the only person people remember.
Yeah.
But anyway, when Jimmy Carter became the president of the United States, he soon appointed Jim Barnett to the National Council of the Arts. And for a time, Barnett was also the secretary treasurer of the NWA. It's believed that he could have very easily become NWA president, but they didn't want a homosexual man being the president of the NWA. They thought it was a bad look.
Again, it's the 70s.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little better. You're not as easily going to jail.
Yeah.
Far be it from any of us to say how easy or hard it is to be
Yeah.
LGBT in America at any time.
Yeah. Well,
But-
I just want to
Especially
preference.
in the 70s.
I'm just
Yeah.
preferencing for me at least. I mean, you guys can speak yourself, but like I'm an ally, but I have
Yeah.
no idea the struggles.
Of
You know what I
course,
mean?
none
Like,
of
and
us
I'm
do.
not gonna sit here and pretend I do.
You wouldn't unless you're in them shoes, you know. That's
Exactly.
for anybody, you know.
Yeah. So it's so when we are honoring Pride Month, I'm honoring me personally. I'm honoring it as an ally
Mhm.
of your like of everything. You did a great job on Pedantic also.
Oh, thank you.
With like teaching about the different flags and stuff, which I
Mhm.
thought was really good. And you guys did a topic based on the struggles of being
Yeah.
gay in America.
The Stonewall riots, why
yeah.
there even is a Pride Month.
Yeah.
Why, or not just why there is one, why is it June?
Yeah.
And if it goes back to the Stonewall riots, and it goes back to a time when, yeah, they just would do whatever they can to terrorize people who weren't heterosexual.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's
Just
crazy.
It's
think
super
about it.
sad. It really is, and it's not honestly not that many people ago. You know what I mean? Like not many
Yeah,
generations
you still
ago.
see it today. I mean, I still
Yeah.
see it today. It's a shame.
Yeah,
but
you want to say, oh, it was so bad back then. There's people going through stuff now.
Yeah. There's still. I mean, it is better that you have like everyone's like, why do we have Pride? Why do they have to have parades? Because you have people who are still afraid to be themselves
Mhm.
and be open and want to live their life without scrutiny or being hated.
and then
you
you
know?
still have people that hate for no reason.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's sad.
You know.
Completely sad.
That's why I'm very, very proud to be part of wrestling organizations that are very pro that
Yeah.
because
Mhm.
there's a big community of that as well. And some of your favorite talent, you know, back in the day were probably gay and you didn't even know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Or in some form LGBTQ.
Yeah,
you
you never know.
Absolutely. And so with Barnett, one of the things he did in Georgia, and this is where
This is a fantastic beer, by the way.
one of the things that happened in Georgia is that he
Says Jimmy Carter's real dad is Mr. Wrestling too.
I don't know if the ages line up on that.
Call him the knee lift.
But one of the big things that happened is one of their big stars was Tommy Rich. One of their big stars was Wildfire Tommy Rich. Fired up.
Fired up in here.
And Jim Barnett was instrumental in getting Tommy Rich a 1-week reign as the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. He beat Harley Race and he lost it right back to it.
Mm-hmm.
Right back to him. And there was always rumor, again, this, even though the wrestling industry was largely accepting of Jim Barnett, there was a rumor, oh, Tommy Rich got that run because he did favors backstage for Jim Barnett. It was a title in exchange for sex, essentially.
Yeah.
Oh, like kind of like women are being accused of now.
Yeah, like, oh, that woman's doing well. She must have slept her way to the top. She couldn't possibly have gotten there on merit.
She didn't get there on her own merit. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, so with that, I mean, like people who were close by said, no, he wanted to get Tommy over. Tommy was his biggest babyface. Why wouldn't he want him to be the champion?
Yeah. Somebody say something about fired up.
Now, the one thing that Barnett did get a reputation for is treating wrestlers relatively well for a promoter.
Yeah.
He was known as a decent payoff guy. He was fair. He would listen. And one of the people who was kind of a behind the scenes guy he booked in Georgia for a while, he was a referee, was a guy, Ron West. He has unfortunately passed away since. And when Jim Barnett passed, Mike Mooneyham was a very famous journalist, covers a lot of wrestling in North Carolina. He wrote an article about him, and Ron West talked to Mooneyham, and he said, Jim was a very good businessman. This is a quote from Ron West. And he treated my family very well. There are many others in the business who also appreciate what he did for them. He knew the wrestling business, and he put good people around him. And he also said that Jim Barnett, when Ron West had a heart attack while he was working for Georgia Championship Wrestling, he was the only person who would visit him in the hospital from the ownership. And up until the day that Jim Barnett died, every Christmas he would call Ron West and his family.
About that. Yeah.
So, yeah, but not everybody says good things about Jim Barnett. There was a guy, Jim Wilson. He was a football player turned wrestler. One of those guys who had a great look. Maybe not the best in the ring. Maybe not the most charismatic.
It happens with a lot of football players.
He claims that Jim Barnett made advances toward him, and then he rejected him, and then he was no longer pushed. And he also blamed Jim Barnett. But you can talk about literally any promoter in wrestling history. You can say this about. Oh, he fought against unionization in wrestling. Yeah. So it's every other wrestling promoter that has ever existed.
Here's my thing, and I'm just workshopping this as I'm speaking it, and I probably shouldn't even be doing this because I don't want to say the wrong thing.
Not.
But we're gonna give it a shot.
Okay, strap in.
Me and
Get your
Brian
seatbelt on.
trying to help here.
If if he was a straight man
Mhm.
and he
you
didn't
said
give
that,
somebody
yeah.
a push, would it be, or if he was doing it to a woman, would
Mhm.
it be the same accusation? You know what I mean? What I'm saying is because he was gay and he was a promoter, and say, hey, listen, if you're attracted to that sex, you're going to be like, hey, you're cute today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the guy's like, not into that, man. And you're like, all right, no problem. And then you're like, the next day.
There's a difference between that and go to bed with me and I'll give you the title.
Yeah.
there's
What
a
I'm saying is, he said he made advancements. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
What the degree of what advancements are. You know what I'm
Did
saying?
it even happen? Or is this guy just blaming Jim Barnett because he couldn't cut it?
Yeah.
Because people have said, no, he just could. He had no charisma. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If you
like-
get out there and you're the sack of potatoes, and
One of my
cares?
first jobs, my boss was gay,
Mhm.
and I'm not even gonna say made advances. He complimented me on my outfit.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then like I wasn't like, oh well, he didn't give me hours the next week because I didn't let him touch me. Like
Yeah.
that's just it's just I don't know. Like I feel like
and maybe too,
I don't
like
want to discredit people's stories or say that
Mhm.
don't
yeah.
believe
and
the
maybe
people.
maybe
but
too they got friendly and he was like jokingly hitting on them, but not you
Yeah,
know
because-
I've had that with gay people I know, and it's nothing.
It seems
they're not
like
hitting on you.
it's
They're
harmless.
just
Yeah.
I think that happened more, and we'll get into a little bit with Pat Patterson.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Because I have a friend, like one of my friends is gay, and he's just a touchy human in general.
Yeah.
And people are like, I don't like being around him because he's always like touching my shoulder or something like that.
Yeah,
I'm like,
it's well, he's not jerking off because he's touching your shoulder.
like relax, like
Yeah,
calm
yeah.
down. If he wasn't gay and it was just a regular dude touching your shoulder, you wouldn't care. But because that
Mhm.
stigma is there, you're automatically putting more on it
Yeah.
that doesn't need to be there. It's pretty much what I'm getting at. With
Yeah.
these, and I'm not trying to like say that the people's stories aren't valid or it's
Mhm.
not true, but how much of it is just
A lot of this is going to come more into play with Pat Patterson.
Yeah.
So you might want to just hold that thought because
I
that's
didn't
going to
do
come
terrible. I didn't-
really into play.
I didn't do bad there.
No, you didn't.
All right, cool.
That was good. So the other thing that Barnett kind of that's very infamous that he was involved with was Black Saturday. And Barnett, along with the Briscoes and every other ownership person in Georgia Championship Wrestling, with the exception of Ole Anderson, all lined up and they all sold to Vince in 1984. They sold out the territory. They sold out the time slot 605 on TBS, and they left Ole holding the bag. So a lot of things you hear bad about Jim Barnett now are coming from Ole Anderson.
Mhm.
And Barnett would go on to serve as a vice president of Titan Sports until 1987. And
Did he do commentary for old WWE stuff?
No, he was never an on-camera character at all.
His voice was never used on wrestling
Nope.
shows.
Somebody may have done an impression of him.
Yeah,
No.
probably someone might did an impression, like, and it was
Oh, you know who I'm thinking
it
of?
was like an inside joke.
Who's the old boxing guy? Muhammad Ali isn't like
Howard
do
Cosell.
you mean
yeah.
Gordon Sully?
Your impression
that
kind of reminds me a little
right
bit,
now.
maybe like a Sully or a Howard Cosell a little bit.
And he's got a wonderful soup play.
Yeah, some kind of. I mean, they're not
I don't
spot
know.
on.
If
but
that's, I don't
yeah.
know.
No, yeah, no.
Cosell was a little like that, right?
Oh, Howard. What do you mean?
This is Howard Cosell.
Howard Cosell. Not him? Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe
No,
just the
Jim Barnett
impression.
and Howard Cosell sounded nothing alike.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Maybe just your impressions. I don't know. When I hear it,
When
that's
I
what I'm
hear,
getting.
the closest thing I can think of Jim Barnett. Have you ever seen the movie JFK?
No.
Okay, because Tommy Lee Jones plays this guy in prison. He's like, "Yeah, handsome man, Mr. Gas," and like that's a more Cajun version of Jim
Yeah.
Barnett, but that's the closest thing I can think of
Okay.
to
I'll have to look it up.
my boy.
Look it up.
Jim, say you look so good today.
Sounds like an awesome voice.
Alex Wright, when he was in WCW,
Yeah.
Jim Barnett was a consultant, and I guess he called up whoever was running WCW at the time. If it was Bill Watts or Bishop, was like, "I like him."
Yeah, like
Yeah.
so young Alex, right? No shit.
So he was also Barnett was also instrumental in something we covered on the Jim Crockett episode a few months back. Once that Black Saturday deal, once the WWF on WTBS thing did not work, he was the one that kind of went to Crockett and negotiated that deal to sell the time slot on TBS at 605 for $1 million, which then they rolled that money into WrestleMania. The first WrestleMania was bankrolled largely
So
by that.
McMahon bought the time slot and then sold it back to them for more.
What a gangster.
Their own time slot.
What a gangster.
Well, he bought it from Georgia
But
and
yeah,
sold it
yeah,
to
I mean,
Carolina.
still,
But yeah,
like the NBA.
yeah, Vince is a gangster
Sure.
in many ways.
He does a lot of crazy shit,
Mhm.
man.
And so did Barnett. Barnett was crazy too because he always wanted to keep his options open. He was very deft at politicking. I'll put it that
Mhm.
way. He apparently there was a thing where I want to say Bill Watts and somebody, I don't know if it was Jack Briscoe or Dory Funk or Fritz Von Erich or one of the Funks, but Bill Watts was mad at somebody, and they were about to fight. They were these two old school wrestler guys, and they were promoters now, and they were going to fight. And they both stopped and compared notes. Were like, Jim told us all this stuff, and he got us mad at each other.
That's funny. Working them.
And so Barnett was keeping back channels with Crockett, just kind of keeping communication open. And Vince McMahon found out. And you want to talk about gangster? He's like, "You're disloyal. You're out." He demanded Barnett's resignation in 1987, shortly after WrestleMania 3, and Barnett went straight home and took a fistful of sleeping pills. And they found him. They got him to the hospital. Linda McMahon was actually by his bedside for a lot of the time he was in the hospital, but he was not welcome back. But he did get a chance to go to, very briefly, Jim Crockett Promotions. He worked there in 1987, but they were dying. They were falling apart, and he helped broker the deal to
Back.
when the WCW purchase happened, he wasn't like a superpower. He was very powerful in the beginning, but mainly he was a consultant. And you had other people like TV people, Jim Hurd, Kip Fry, people like that, on the Bill Watts, Eric Bischoff. And Bischoff was the one that kind of pushed Barnett into the back of the back burner a little bit. He was a senior advisor, then he was a consultant. And then by the end, when WCW closed, he was very, very briefly a consultant for WWE in 2000, or WWF still in 2001.
Wow.
But he did pass away in 2002 at the age of 80. He had pneumonia, he had a bad fall, and he had the very early onset of cancer. But a very powerful man who, unless you really look at the behind the scene things, you wouldn't know who Jim Barnett was.
Yeah.
But such a mover and shaker, and helps shape so many things
A
in
big
wrestling.
behind the scenes guy.
I definitely learned something today. I didn't know much about him.
Yeah,
When you told me the topic, I purposely didn't research it.
Oh,
I
really?
wanted to like hear it. I wanted to learn. All right, on
so
to
we got one guy left here.
Pat Patterson. Now this is just the guy who, during the Attitude Era, just would put piss stains in his underwear, right?
Yeah,
That's all he ever did.
and he had the hardcore evening gown match.
Oh,
One
yeah.
of the very few people, maybe the only person, I don't know this, who has had the Wrestling Observer Award for best match and worst match.
How about that?
Yeah,
Now,
almost 20 years apart
Yeah.
too.
now there
15, 20
was
years apart.
a really good moment on wrestling television, WWE television, which I guess now, as a lot of people are saying, was not legit. During Legends House when he came out.
I mean, it was the first time he did so publicly.
Yeah.
But I mean,
But
the boys
everybody in
knew.
that room knew.
Oh, they knew
Yeah.
since the 50s. When
Like,
he started.
Yeah. So it was more or less coming out publicly to the world, not so much to the boys
Yeah,
at
that
the
was
table.
more a show for that show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because other people there knew.
Mhm.
You know, if they didn't, then I don't know where.
Here's the thing about reality TV, and this is something I heard Lance Storm say in an interview, because Lance Storm did this reality show in Canada called World of Hurt, where it was him training these people, and Tennille Dashwood was in it, Taya Valkyrie, what's her name now, Frankie Monet.
Yeah, fine, yeah.
She was in it. A few other people were in it, and he talked about doing that show, and he said reality TV is faker than pro wrestling, and it is. So yeah, that was a manufactured moment.
Or when World Championship boxing guy boxes a YouTube star.
Yeah,
You know,
it's a show.
And then the YouTube guy takes him.
There's more contact in professional wrestling than there was in that fight.
Yes, there is. I've seen a lot of people who kind of throw shade, a lot of shade at professional wrestling fans, and then they're like, well, "We like boxing," and it's just like, and then the wrestling fans are like,
There you go.
"Yep."
And that's not the first boxing match it was ever a sham either.
Oh, absolutely
Not by a long shot. So Pat Patterson, not his real name, of course. He was born Pierre Clermont.
Pierre.
Pierre,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Why didn't he keep that in wrestling?
Because it was too.
French, yeah.
So back then, like in anything, if you lived in America, being any type of nationality was kind of looked down upon. If you were really if you're really Italian, if you're really French, if you're really German, you had to Americanize your name. So you would drop parts of your name, and everyone had to be American.
So I feel like
You know?
maybe just the next generation wrestling where they really leaned into that.
Well, some people even then, because he's around the same generation as Killer Kowalski, and that is his real last name is like Wladek Kowalski,
or even like what's the world champion?
Bruno.
Bruno.
Yeah.
Bruno.
WWF was different.
Yeah.
WWF, what they would do there, you would have, for the most part, ethnic baby faces, usually Italians, or you would always have your ethnic baby faces, and then your heels were usually Irish.
Yeah.
So because
bastards.
Yeah.
Fucking bastards.
Because they knew, like in New York, the people who would come to the Garden primarily were Italian. They were coming to see Bruno, or they were Puerto Rican. They were coming to see Pedro Morales.
So they were kind of playing to their audience.
They were Polish. They were coming to see Ivan Putski. And they didn't like the Irish because the Irish were the other side of that thing. So that's why you had like Big John Studd was Chuck O'Connor when he came there.
It just I'm making a joke, but it's actually
It
true.
does seem a little bit dumb. It's like, well, here's the Polish guy. All you Polish people like him.
But then again,
but it works.
We get
Polish
we're
people. They were
shocked.
both sides of it because you did have Ivan Putski, but you also had Killer Kowalski, and you also had Stan Stasiak.
Yeah.
And you had the evil Russian Ivan Koloff.
Your tag.
All Russians.
It's crazy that we're like, we don't understand that racism's not a thing. It's like you were bred to not like to dislike other white people. When you lived in like a part of your area where the only other person was another white person, you're like, Germans got your section, Italians are in your section, Irish stay away from us. You know, what I mean?
It's like let's keep dividing till we're down to one thing. It's like, okay, we got no black people here, so now it's just the Italians and the Irish. Okay, well now we gotta get the Irish.
Now we gotta segregate even more.
Us. Then we'll get rid of the blonde people. It's like, what do you stop?
This gives a name though. This gives a name to one of the maybe the most famous wrestler ever. Because these people who are coming in as heels, they when they come to WWE have to get an Irish name. So this big Italian guy from Tampa comes up. He's been Terry Boulder before, but we need to give him a Terry the Hulk Boulder. Excuse me.
Yeah.
We got to give or Terry Golden, Sterling Golden. We got to give him an Irish name. Hogan.
Yeah,
Hulk Hogan. That's why he has that name.
Because he was trying to be. He's supposed to be Irish.
He was supposed to be Irish. Yeah. Hogan's an Irish name.
Yeah, the Hogan's like when you hear that name. Even if you're not a wrestling fan, you don't really think Irish. I
don't think Irish.
No,
either.
but if you're in the
back then.
But
so Hogan minus 50 points plus 2.
Yeah. But no, Hogan is a pretty Irish name.
I mean, it's not like it doesn't strike you like
it's not like Murphy or like
O'Shaughnessy. You know?
But they also with the alliteration Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Almost said like him, Hulk Hogan.
Yeah,
Hulk Hogan.
I like them people Hawk Hogan. Like, where the fuck are you from?
All right, let's get back to Pat.
So Pat Patterson, Pierre Clermont. He hates that name. He legally eventually did change his name to Pat Patterson.
I like Pierre.
Pierre Clermont is his real name. He was born on January 19th, 1941 in Montreal, Quebec. As you can tell from him talking, he has that very thick French-Canadian accent. He was raised along with 8 siblings in a 2-bedroom apartment with no shower and no hot water. He slept on a fold-out bed in a closet.
Just another example of Canada just giving us pure gold when it comes to professional wrestling.
And this is something that was very interesting in this book because, like you said, because he talked about like being, he even talked about being in 2 closets when he was in his career, because he was in the closet as far as his sexuality, and then he was in that closet of kayfabe. He couldn't be honest about what he did either. So it was like kind of a dual thing. And he's like, yeah, I even slept in the closet when I was a kid in a fold-out bed. He was one of those guys that started early. He started training in his teens. He started wrestling at 17. And he always wanted to be a performer. He wanted to be maybe a figure skater because skating is very big in Canada, or a singer. If you've ever heard Pat Patterson sing, you know why that didn't happen.
Yeah.
And
it's funny you said figure skating. In my mind immediately went because of stereotypes and just the way the world is, that he's gay and figure skating. And then I'm like, oh no, he's from Canada and they just ice skate up there. Like we don't ice skate in our area. Like even, I mean,
no, how many people do you know locally that skate on ice? Nobody.
For how cold it is, for how long it stays cold here, you think there would be more places to ice skate?
I don't know. There was an ice place in Wilkes-Barre, Scranton area. It was called like the Ice Palace. They had shows there.
There was an old basketball court in Monty City, and we always hated it because when you get so far out of bounds, it was like a curb, and the curb went around the entire basketball court, and we're like, why did they do that?
Yeah.
And then we found out the reason they did that is they would fill it with water and freeze it over.
Oh, yeah, years ago, ice skating was more popular in the States anyway. But I mean, Canada, hockey.
You know how many people I've seen break their ankle on that curb?
Yeah.
I would never.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even roller.
It was literally like out of bounds, and then like right maybe a foot, 2 feet after out of bounds line was this giant
well, that's what they thought, in the 50s when they built it, probably. Hey, that's fine. Break your ankle, just get back up and keep playing.
Yeah, rub some dirt on it. All right, let's go.
So he's now in professional wrestling. He started as a heel, Killer Pat Patterson. He had the name right away. He said he got it from flipping through a name dictionary. That's how he got the name Pat Patterson.
Oh wow!
And
Pat.
Patterson.
Yeah.
He was naturally athletic, but by his own admission, he was never really a big fan of going to the gym. He was never cut. He was
You
never.
don't say.
He was never. He was never that put together. But he did have he was a great bumper. He would always make his opponents look good. And in his teens, he did start dating. He started dating men. He knew from very early on what his sexuality was. And that, like so many people, even today, it caused a rift with his family and especially with his father. And he was gone very, very early on. He came to America in 1962, not even knowing the
English,
language.
yeah.
Oh, he didn't know English.
No, he spoke French.
Holy
Montreal was French
shit.
Canada. And he went to Boston. And there were a lot of territories: Boston, Detroit, San Francisco.
He went to Boston, not speaking English and gay in the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Didn't last long.
Wow.
Didn't last long. But the territory there was called Big Time Wrestling. There were a bunch of big time wrestlings. And the one thing that did happen in Boston for him, though, is he met his longtime partner, Louis Dondero, who was in Boston. And they
Awesome last name.
They were together
Yeah,
for a
that's
long time. It's funny because I had a French teacher with that last name in middle
Really?
school.
Wow.
Yeah,
And then your wrestling encyclopedia brain's like,
yeah, all connects. And then another French Canadian, Mad Dog Vachon, the uncle of Luna Vachon, he recruited Patterson to the Portland territory, which was a big one. It was where Roddy Piper got to start a bunch.
that would be a topic I'd like to do for a show one time.
Ray Shire.
Is Luna?
We tried.
Yeah.
We tried, and I had audio issues because it was when I wasn't in studio.
Oh,
Yeah.
boy. There's gonna be
Oh,
dark,
that's right. We did.
That was the
try.
night you ran your board over
Yeah.
to me. We tried to do Luna Vachon.
There's
Yeah.
gonna be Dark Side of the Ring on Luna.
Yeah. Maybe we'll bring that one back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Mad Dog brings him over to Portland, and he starts to lean into, and this happens so much, even with people who weren't really gay. The one thing you got to talk about is the history of gay gimmicks in professional wrestling is very exploitative.
Yeah, and usually negative.
Yeah.
In a negative way. It's usually a heel, and they're getting heat by acting "quote unquote" gay.
Yeah, very flamboyant, over the top. You know,
And not in a way like somebody like Dame or Effie does it now, where they can play a heel and not.
Effie is
Yeah.
a genius at it right now.
He's great.
Did you see the photo he just took where he's all cut up and bloody from the light tubes, and he just pulls his tights down like it's his ass in fishnets, and just like kind of like flipping on like, dude, Effie's a fucking king.
He's great. But back then it was different, and I think Pat may have even come up with this. He was Pretty Boy Pat Patterson. He would wear lipstick, sunglasses, a beret. Louis, his real life partner, Louis Dondero, was his like manager, and he would treat him like garbage and act like he was so much better than him. And so they had a gimmick going there, and he did fairly well in Portland. He did a lot of tag wrestling throughout his career. He did a lot of tag wrestling. One of the people he was teaming with there's a guy, the Hangman. I don't know who that was. There are a million Hangmen in wrestling. One of the partners who won the
Adam
Portland,
Page's great grandfather.
maybe,
Yeah.
Dallas Page.
Yeah.
And one of the people he did win the tag titles with was Tough Tony Bourne, who was the
Tough
father of
Tony.
Matt Bourne.
Who was
You would
Doink.
know better as Doink the Clown,
Yeah.
Yeah.
or Big Josh if you
Big Josh came out with a bear at the one day pay-per-view.
came out with two bears,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
one on each
There's
side.
gonna be two doinks at Legends of Hamburg Fieldhouse.
There are, yeah.
actually will be
At least maybe Steve Kern will be there. We don't know yet.
And then maybe Alabama Doink will come.
No. Alabama Doink is dead.
Yeah, he's dead.
Unfortunately.
But maybe there's a second one.
Look,
That's
there's
how-
been a
that's the
million
legend of
Doinks.
Doink. That there's a
We should
second
just do a
Alabama
Doink Con. All the Doinks.
Could.
All the Doinks.
Come meet all the Doink Con.
Yeah.
And-
Is Dink still alive?
Yes,
Wow,
Is he?
How about it?
I believe so. And if
Legends, get on
you're a
that.
hockey fan, you'll love this. Dink's real name, Tiger Jackson, is Claude Giroux, who is the captain of the Philadelphia Flyers. That's also
Wow,
the
how
captain of the
about
Philadelphia
Claude
Flyers.
Giroux?
Claude Giroux, yeah. Also French Canadian.
We need Dink at Legends of Hamburg Fieldhouse.
Or Claude Giroux.
Or go bring Claude Giroux in.
So in 1965, Pat Patterson moves on to San Francisco, and their version of big time wrestling, promoted by Roy Shire. He was quickly paired with Crippler Ray Stevens, a legend of legends, as the Blonde Bombers. They're known as one of the best tag teams ever.
Yeah.
Ever. And they were super successful. And this was really like Pat Patterson felt home. Like San Francisco in the 60s was one of the few places where you could kind of be openly gay,
Yeah.
like to a degree. It was Mecca for gay people. And Pat Patterson even mentioned once he had a match where it was like, I'm gay, the referee is gay, the ring announcer's gay, the tag team are wrestling. The only straight person in this match is Ray, because he's teaming with Ray Stevens. It's like, I loved it.
Yeah.
And I mean,
you got to feel like a sense of community, like especially when you live in a closed-minded area and then you move to a city where it's completely accepted and open, and then you're like, man, I was once in a place where I was the only gay guy within 100 miles, and now the only now it's like
it's a sanctuary.
We can't find anybody who's not. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely,
it's got to be a good feeling to be around like-minded people.
And that's probably a big reason why Pat Patterson lasted in that territory for about 15 years, 10, 15 years. And he won so many tag team titles. He won. He
was the South Philly's finest of this area.
Pretty much. He was the New Day of San Francisco. So he had a 2-year-long reign with Ray Stevens. He had a second reign. He won 11 tag team titles in all. It was the San Francisco version of the NWA World Tag Team titles. He won 11 in all. So he was a New Day. So he won them, the 2 with Stevens. He won 3 with Rocky Johnson, father of The Rock.
Holy shit.
He won 1 with superstar Billy Graham. He won 1 each with Pepper Gomez, Tony Gurria.
So he's just a pure tag team specialist.
Will be at Legends of Hamburg.
Yeah, Tony Gurria will be at Legends of Hamburg.
Yeah.
And also Pedro Morales will not be at Pittsburgh.
No, he won't be showing up.
He's no longer with us. I met him once when I was like 5 years old.
Wow, how about that?
At the Spectrum, a Moondog, Maine. And he also won a tag team title with Peter Maivia, The Rock's grandfather.
Wow, how about that?
The High Chief.
He should have won tag belts with The Rock. And
that would have been great. Yeah,
they could have did it in the Attitude Era.
Yeah, they could have.
They were both there.
And so while he did, and he spent over a decade in San Francisco, and he won the legendary Cal Palace Battle Royal. That
real quick, just to kind of go back to that. Imagine seeing a guy like the High Chief, then you see Rocky, and then you see the 3rd generation Spawn during the Attitude Era dominating the world.
Well,
like you see 3
Pat had a hand in that.
Yeah, but
I'm saying had a big hand in that.
But you just at the end of the day, you still have to wrestle and do your mic work. You know what I mean? But I'm saying just to see that the 3rd generation of you're in the business that long that you're seeing now the 3rd generation person take over the world.
But what happened with The Rock is he was in Canada playing football. It didn't work out, and he doesn't have 2 nickels to rub together. He calls his dad. He says, "I want to wrestle." And who does his dad get over there? Look at him, Pat Patterson.
Yeah.
And Pat Patterson worked with him to help train him and got him ready.
I mean,
The Rock, obviously.
I know they were goof characters together during the Attitude Era, but I mean, if you wanted to learn the business and get in there and get your hands in and be good, Briscoe and Patterson were your guys, right?
People have called Pat Patterson wrestling's Yoda. Wow. That's the best way that people would put it. Like, he was the wise man that you would go to for anything.
That's crazy.
That's how people would describe him. And so Patterson won the legendary Cal Palace Battle Royal in 1975. He also won the final one in 1981. And that was like a big battle royal in January that we used to set up everything for the year. And that's where the idea for the Royal Rumble came.
Battle Royal in January.
Battle Royal in January. But that 81 when he won, that was a guest spot. Patterson really moved out of San Francisco full-time around 1977. He went to Florida, which was a legendary territory. Eddie Graham, Dusty Rhodes was a big star there. And that was, he had helped out a lot behind the scenes, Patterson did, as far as putting together like house shows and spot shows and doing some of the creative stuff in San Francisco. In Florida, he did a lot of booking. Eddie Graham was, before Pat Patterson, probably known as one of the more creative minds in wrestling. And he learned a lot from him. Another great finish guy. Like Pat Patterson, one of the things you'll hear about him is he was the best at putting together a finish. Like figuring out a way to end a match. He was also in AWA for a little bit. And in AWA in 1978, Patterson and Stevens reunited. When Pat Patterson was winning all those titles in San Francisco with other people, it was because Ray Stevens left. And he formed a very successful tag team in the AWA with Nick Bockwinkel, and Bobby Heenan was their manager. And so Bockwinkel had gone on to be a singles guy, the AWA World Champion. And so they bring Patterson in to reunite with Stevens. They were the champs for about a year, but Pat Patterson wouldn't be there long. And he had a few like New Japan tours. They beat the High Flyers, which was Greg Gagne and Jim Brunzell. And then they lost it about 9 months later to Mad Dog Vachon. There's that name again. And Vern Gagne, Greg's father, and the owner of the AWA.
Yeah.
And so around this time is
that
when...
guy from that school, right?
Yeah, Robbins DeHeim. Greg and Vern. Yeah, absolutely. It all fits. Everything fits together.
Yeah, it all comes together
like a puzzle. And so in 1979, Pat Patterson makes his way to what will become his home. He finally comes to New York. At that point, I think it was still for a little bit the WWWF.
Yeah, worldwide.
It actually changed. They actually changed their name in 1979. and he came in with a big push. And in '79, you're still talking about the three wise men, and that was Captain Lou Albano, the Grand Wizard, and Freddie Blassie. And pretty much every heel on the roster was managed by one of those three guys. And they got the heat for the heel. Like the biggest heel in 1970s in WWF was Lou Albano. It wasn't any one guy. It wasn't Killer Khan. It wasn't Billy Graham.
I met Captain Alabama like 4 times.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I got really lucky with those.
Oh, wow.
I think a lot of it had to do with the Samoans being in Hazelton.
Okay, yeah.
So I seen him twice in Hazelton, and then I seen him at the Schuylkill. He was at the Schuylkill Mall one time.
Oh, wow.
Like in center court,
that's
signing
cool.
autographs.
Yeah.
And I remember I was like, oh my God, I know him from wrestling, and he's also Mario.
Yeah, he's
That's right. That's how I first knew him.
Yeah.
And he's also in the Cyndi Lauper video.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always in wrestling, I always was really drawn to managers. I always liked managers. I don't know why. Like the first time I ever seen like Jimmy Hart or like Cornette or those guys outside the ring, or like Luna or Sensational Sherry or Captain Lou Albano with the
rubber bands,
the rubber bands and the beard. I was just always drawn to a manager. I don't know. I always liked that role in wrestling.
I don't know. I would never like WWE got rid of managers for the most part. It's like why?
Yeah, I think it's such an important part in wrestling.
It is, especially you got a guy that looks great and can wrestle, but he can't talk. Give him a manager.
Yep.
Problem solved.
Yeah, pretty much.
Or you're a guy and you have a pretty girl, bring her down to the ring.
Yeah.
Well, if it's your pretty girl, keep her as far away from wrestling as you can.
Yeah. If it's somebody else's, go ahead, go to work.
Yeah.
Did an angle with my wife?
Yeah.
I don't have a wife. Yeah.
I'm gonna be a manager of somebody one day.
I don't know.
Maybe real pretty.
So he's in the WWF, and his manager.
He said here before Pat passed away, he was able to actually see WWE sign The Rock's daughter to the Performance Center, which is the first 4th generation of the Samoan dynasty. That's awesome. Good call out, you.
Yeah, it's a very good call out.
I don't think it worked out for The Rock's daughter.
I think she's still there.
She was hurt for a bit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You would see her when they would have all the Performance Center people in the crowd.
Oh, she'd see her background.
But I think she had an injury. She's very young too, so it's gonna be
it's just time. Yeah.
I think she's like 19, 20.
Oh wow.
Like that.
Yeah, she has a lot of time to row.
And so Patterson, of those three wise men, his manager was the Grand Wizard of Wrestling. Who, if you've ever heard Jim Mitchell from Impact, he's doing the Grand Wizard.
Really?
Yeah.
I always liked Freddie Blassie too.
Freddie Blassie was great.
He was a wrestler then turned manager, right?
Yeah. He was a very, very accomplished wrestler.
And that's where is that where they said Flair got a lot of his?
That's where they say Muhammad Ali might.
Muhammad Ali, yeah, something in Muhammad.
Muhammad Ali would always say Gorgeous George, but people like some wrestling historians say that there was this interview in Vegas and Ali heard it, this radio interview, and Ali was going to come on next and hear all these things, and he thought it was Gorgeous George that he was hearing, but it was probably Blassie.
Yeah,
but no, Blassie. I mean, and then Blassie got known for he had a novelty record, Pencil Neck Geek.
Yeah,
that was his big saying. And then he did that thing with Andy Kaufman, My Breakfast with Blassie, where he acted like he was this germaphobe, and like it was just this comedy spin on My Dinner with Andre, which was like a big art film.
I just started watching the show on A&E where they go look for items.
Okay, yeah.
I have a funny story about that.
Someone who needs to be at the Legend Haverfield House. Just because of I know one of the guys from the show is going to be on there, but Abner, man,
Bill Apter,
what a good human. You know what I mean? Just like hearing his stories and just his pure love for professional wrestling.
Yeah,
I know Cornette gets a lot of shit, but his love for the business is there.
Yeah.
But Bill Abner's love is above and beyond anything.
He
on
had
this
a
planet.
podcast for what was the Apter Files or something like that? It was a short-lived.
Yeah,
podcast.
He would do stuff with the Wrestle Crap guys. I know.
Yeah. What's that? So says sure enough. That was his Twitter handle.
Yeah,
I forget his first name.
It
wasn't a bad show, but it didn't last long.
We need more people like Bill Abner in the world, like just purest wrestling fans, but not to hate on the new stuff because the old stuff is what you grew up on.
Yeah.
Like just really growing with the times and just being a purest wrestling fan. Like what a good human. I don't know. That episode was really cool. Hearing Apter tell all the stories of how he helped put the Kaufman Lawler thing together. Really, really cool. Yeah. And just how they were saying too, like some of the greatest wrestling collections are sitting in people's attics.
Well, yeah. I mean,
it's crazy to think about.
Like some old belt or gear, boots, or something. Yeah,
and it's sitting in someone's basement.
Yeah.
And it's just like I don't know. It's a cool idea for a show.
It's like anything collectible wise, really.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So Patterson, when he comes in, is pushed to the moon. He is pushed they put the rocket on him, basically. He gets a TV win, not for the title, over Bob Backlund, who was a champion at the time. He gets a win over the North American champion. That's about, you don't really hear a lot about. It didn't last long. But the champion this time was Ted DiBiase, way before he was a $1 Million Man. He's a babyface, actually. And Pat Patterson hits him with the brass knuckles and wins the North American title. But before this, not too long after this, rather, they don't want to do the North American title anymore. It didn't last long. And so they say he went to Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, and he won a tournament to become the first ever WWF Intercontinental
Who
Champion.
else was in that tournament? I don't know.
Everybody.
Here's the thing. Everybody talks about that one. Nobody ever mentions a Buddy Rogers with a WWF title the same way.
Yeah.
It was a fake tour. But they did say he beat Antonino Rocca in the final, but the tournament never happened. And it was in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. So that was how WWF would introduce a title.
Because
this guy won a tournament.
There was no internet. Who are you going to ask to verify? You know?
I think a company should just do that.
They should. AEW should do it, because Tony Khan's big on like the things.
It'll be hilarious.
Oh, he won the title in Rio de Janeiro.
Just like a guy shows up, like he's a champion. Like how?
With some poorly photoshopped photos.
Yes. Just clearly.
Where it's Daly's place, but just like it just says De Janeiro, Rio.
De Janeiro's place. Even as recently as the 80s, they did like, they lost the title here and it never happened.
Yeah.
Rick Rude and Manny Fernandez were the NWA tag team champions. And
the one I was talking about, the guy from my job, he was talking about like, because he's Dominican, and he was telling me how, like, his love for wrestling growing up in Dominican Republic.
We talked about it before.
Yeah, and how he
did win, but then they just acted like it didn't.
It didn't happen.
Yeah.
This was
Ric Flair didn't want to die.
You couldn't take a picture on your phone and send it to them.
Yeah,
you had to take a picture, get developed, and then send it to somebody.
That same thing happened
for months.
That same thing happened in Puerto Rico with Carlos Colon, and that's why he would say he was a Universal. He was the first Universal champion. Their title was called the Universal title, and everybody else had a world title.
It's bigger than the world. It's the universe.
Yeah.
And so Patterson is the now the Intercontinental champion. He very quietly dropped in Japan that North American title to Seiji Sakaguchi, but then it was retired like a few months later, like a half a year later. And so he's the Intercontinental champion for a while, and while champion, he turns babyface. And the big thing was that the Grand Wizard was going to sell his contract to Captain Lou Albano for $100,000. And he goes, "No, I hate Captain Lou Albano. I'm not going to work for him. I don't like the man." And so the Wild Samoans, who were Albano's big clients, beat the hell out of Patterson, and that turns him babyface. And shortly thereafter, he did lose the Intercontinental title to the second ever Intercontinental champion, Ken Patera. And Patterson did get his foot on the ropes, but didn't matter. He then moves on to a legendary feud with another one of Albano, or the Grand Wizard's guys, actually, Sergeant Slaughter.
Mm-hmm.
And this culminates in the legendary Alley fight, which you can still find on YouTube. It's on the WWE Network. And it was hardcore wrestling before hardcore wrestling was a big thing. There is blood everywhere. It was one of those, in any other territory, they probably would have called it a lights out match. No rules. It's basically anything goes. Pat Patterson comes in in cowboy boots, jeans, and an I Love New York t-shirt because it's at the Garden. And they take the commentary, I think it's Monsoon, keeps talking about how they have like pointed tips on the cowboy boots. So Slaughter's bleeding buckets, and he's just hitting with the cowboy boot. And Slaughter's taking bumps off the apron and just falling on the floor, which is, that might as well be, somebody jumping off the scaffold.
That's the 6:30 of the day.
Yeah, that's and at this time, like that's big. That's how could somebody live if they fell off the apron?
Yeah.
What is it? Is it 79, 78, or is it like
81?
81.
It was
okay.
81.
And that's like
I want to watch it. How was the crowd for it? Were they hot?
Oh, of course they were. It was wrestling in the 80s.
Wrestling like pre-84, they would always go insane for everything.
It's I don't know. It was nice to see like the last AEW pay-per-view. Everyone's losing their shit.
Yeah.
But, because the whole time during pandemic, obviously nostalgia really kicked in higher than ever because people went back and watched older stuff. And we watched
Michaels and Jeff Jarrett, right?
Michaels and Jeff Jarrett, but no, the Ron Simmons won the championship, and people just losing their fucking minds.
Yeah, if we go back and watch like an NWA pay-per-view from like 85, wait till you see the crowd.
So when I'm just saying, I would wonder how the crowd's first seen like someone taking a bump off the apron, like just be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, their heads explode. If you want to see one of the biggest pops ever I've seen in wrestling, Virgil winning the $1 million title from Ted DiBiase at SummerSlam in 1991.
Loser mind.
That crowd goes ape.
Yeah, they won.
They went because
he's still chasing
that. They go banana.
Yeah, they went bananas, as Pat Patterson would say. And because Virgil had been treated like garbage by DiBiase for so long, back then 3 years.
Yeah.
Like something was like,
But you only had 4 pay-per-views a year.
yeah, and it just felt so much longer. Like when
Yeah.
people are like, oh yeah, you like somebody like The Miz has been in WWE for 12 years now. Rick Rude was in WWE for like 2.5 years.
Yeah.
That's it.
Holy shit.
Yeah. It just
Really
felt longer.
spaced it out.
Yeah.
Maybe 3.
That's a good call. I never even thought of it like that.
Yeah.
Because like you think, oh my god, like that they're iconic, and you're like, oh, it's like 3 matches.
And they weren't always on, like, they weren't on, well, not Raw,
Like-
All American Wrestling. They weren't on every Monday night. They weren't on.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I actually just watched this thing on the internet where it says like misconceptions of Hulk Hogan that you may were led to believe that were not actually true.
Okay.
And it was like people thought Hogan like wrestled more dates than he actually did, but he actually didn't appear on many television things because the
Hogan
whole-
lied a lot.
yeah.
Hogan wrestled a lot, but not on TV.
Yeah.
Hogan would wrestle sometimes. He would say, "Oh, I wrestled 400 nights a year." No, you didn't.
No.
He would also say he did that because he would fly so much he would cross the international date line. That's not how you work. Time travel is not real. And you're wrestling in America most of the time, unless
Yeah.
you're going to Japan.
Yeah.
But what they would do a lot with Hogan is they would do matinee shows, and because WWF used to do 3 shows a night, you have your A show, your B show, and your C show, and sometimes Hogan would wrestle the B show against somebody, and they would put him on in the middle of the card for 2 reasons. WWF used to always put their big match, their title match, if they could, on in the middle of the card because you could do some kind of angle at the end. So just say it's Hulk Hogan against Randy Savage, and it's a DQ because the $1 Million Man comes out and beats up Hulk Hogan, and that's the DQ, and they leave him laying. And then you go to intermission after that, and at intermission you can say, we just got word, next month when we come back, it's Hulk Hogan against the $1 Million Man. Go buy your tickets now.
Yeah.
They knew what they were doing. The other reason they would do that is because Hogan and probably whoever he was wrestling would both get in a limo and get on a plane and fly to another show, and they would wrestle twice that night.
Yeah.
They would
They'd do a
kind
double
of
show.
like
Du-
Philly and New York.
WXW.
Well, now you get out, you
It'd
just
be
drive.
doable, yeah. But
WXWC4 was my first time actually going to a show,
Mhm.
like first time there at their promotion, and it was very like the way it was built and set up was very old school wrestling style. Like halfway through the thing, the guy was wrestling for the #1 contender to fight Tommy Vex later on,
Mhm.
and Tommy Vex comes out and beats him up, and then they announced that Tommy Vex is going to wrestle. It's his kid. I'm having a brain fart.
a Lance.
You're gonna wrestle Lance at the end of the night, and
Right.
then the end of the night comes and Lance beats Tommy Vex to
Yeah.
the title. Everyone goes there. I'm like, oh, this
Yeah,
is very old school
Yeah,
style. Yeah.
that's storytelling. But like back then, they would have said, or Lance would have maybe came in to make the save, and they would have said next time because they already got your money tonight.
Yeah.
They would be like, we want to get your money next time.
Well, I actually said I thought they were gonna do a thing where Tommy wins like dirty, like
Mhm.
the manager leg
Yeah.
pull or something, and then Tommy wins dirty, and then next show you see
Yeah.
Tommy him in a clean match or
Mhm.
something like that. But they just went right
I
for
think
the
the
title.
philosophy with a lot of indie wrestling now, and it's not necessarily wrong, is let's give them a good show and they'll come back. Not, oh, we have to hook them in
Yeah.
with an angle. It's like, make them go home happy. Say, I love that. I'm coming back next time. I'm coming back every month.
Yeah. Tell their friends like, oh, you gotta
Yeah.
come see.
Yeah.
You know.
That I think that's the
ABC
philosophy. And if you send them home happy, you're going to be more likely to do that.
Don't always send them home happy wrestlers.
Yeah.
Wrestling promotions.
Well, if you
But
have,
not always.
if you have a DQ for the finish,
Listen,
like the end of
like
their
when
period,
when PPW, when you're about to crown that champion and you're gonna put it on someone everyone's gonna love, then Deshaun Pratt comes out and spoils the dream.
Right.
Send them home
It
angry.
seems like they were building this something that COVID robbed them of doing. I think they had a plan.
Yeah,
I think
they
had a plan.
100% did, and COVID did rob them, and they're rebuilding because a lot of talent during COVID like worked other promotions and figured other things out, and everyone's lives changed. Traveling changed. Yeah, it's
Whole new
tough.
world.
Yeah, it's tough. It's a different landscape of professional
It
wrestling.
is.
And he's got abs. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And he's got abs. Johnny's got abs.
I always had them.
He just worked them
They're
out.
here
Yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah, they're. I have that one ab. That I have that top ab.
Let's say I don't have a 6-pack, I have a cake.
Yeah. Oh, I got a
I have a
cake.
brewery.
Everybody-
I have a brewery.
But hey,
That's a good one.
Look at Dusty.
I'm working
Rhodes.
on a brewery.
Look at Dusty Rhodes.
You fucking
Yeah.
right.
That's right. My belly's just a little big.
Yeah,
My hand is just a little big.
but I'm bad and they know I'm bad.
Nailed it.
May not look like that later today.
All right, let's get back to Pat.
So at this point, Pat Patterson is winding down on the ring, the early 80s. Even by that alley fight, even by 1980, he is a color commentator as well as a wrestler. He's doing some behind-the-scenes stuff too. And he would be frequently a color commentator on All-Star Wrestling, which came to you from...
Hamburg Field.
The Hamburg Fieldhouse, yes. He wouldn't always be the commentator, but he was there a lot. And you would also have Championship Wrestling, which he was more consistently the commentator on, and that would come from Allentown.
Yeah, so that's what.
So-
Imagine that WD taped Hamburg, Allentown, which is 30 minutes from each other.
No, if you go before that, they taped in Philly, but they taped, I forget the exact, I don't know if it was 35th and Market or 45th and Market. They taped at the same place where they used to do American Bandstand.
Wow.
Like that same building. It was called the Philadelphia Arena before the Spectrum. That was like where everybody would do stuff. And they taped stuff there
Isn't that
too.
crazy.
I want to
Jim
try
may know
to.
too.
I want to try to find like iconic things that happen at the Fieldhouse wrestling wise, like events or moves.
The
or,
coconut.
Yeah.
yeah, the
Roddy Piper?
the Roddy Piper coconut thing. Oh,
Boys getting their candies.
the what?
The boys getting their candies.
The candies. Yeah, the candy shop. Chio said that Tommy Vex and John West versus Lance Anawahi, sorry, and a mystery partner for next show.
Cool.
And yeah, speaking,
Chio did sound right.
yes, he did. And speaking of abs and just impeccable bodies, abs will be on the podcast.
ABBS.
Yeah, ABBS at a to be determined date.
Yeah.
We have a lot of
Lined up.
The extra
exciting,
B is for boy, that guy has abs.
Yeah,
Yes.
there you go.
a lot of really exciting guests coming up.
And
that-
if you want to be on the podcast,
And if you want to be
send
on the
us a
podcast,
message.
there's people who
Be
hit me
your
up, but
person.
I feel bad when they hit me up. I'm like, listen, like I'm booked for like 2 months.
Yeah.
Like I want you on.
We just say, hey, I'm looking at, I don't know, October. You know?
Yeah. Listen, it's
I don't know if
exciting.
you let the cat out of the bag. The one I'm looking forward to is going to be the in-person guest. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I mean, we could talk about it.
Okay.
We're gonna do a podcast with Trajan Horn.
Yeah.
Except it won't be live on Friday. It'll be a night that we have to do on a Saturday night.
Okay.
So we have to find a night that a show is not running.
Yeah.
And we can
Good
get
luck.
everybody, and we can get everybody here. But he wants to do the first ever IWEP Network crossover episode. So
Yeah.
we're going to be recording. Technically, I'm going to record for all of them, and I'm going to upload them as all of their own show because he wants to come and talk. He wants to be on a part of it because he's a wrestler. So that qualifies enough for TTP. But he doesn't want to talk any wrestling.
Okay.
He wants to talk like cryptids and ghosts. He wants to talk. He wants to talk about everything.
Spirituality.
Yeah, everything but wrestling.
Event Star
So
Wars, action figures.
It's going to be the Trajan.
Were you about
across
to say politics?
politics, maybe.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Me and Trish are going to be like Chapo Trap House.
Yeah. But it's gonna be like the galaxy across the IWEP galaxy with Trajan.
There you go.
Yeah. So he's
A
gonna be
very
on-
special episode.
yeah. We have
And
him
hey,
booked.
If you want to come to the table,
Yeah, we're only in
yeah,
Fraggle,
open to it, yeah.
Pennsylvania. We can have you on. There's a lot of podcasts I'm going to be having on soon.
Cool.
Like come on the podcast. I'm going to actually invite a lot of podcasts to like, hey, here's our topic this week. If you want to research, and then have them join that way, and we could do virtual join-ins and stuff. Dina Steele booked. Kit Raff is going to be on the show soon.
Cool.
Only people that wrestle each other.
yeah,
Or Andy.
Yeah,
you have to wrestle somebody. All right, to get on the show. That's the way in.
yeah. Trying to think who else is. We have a bunch of. Rosh was on earlier. He's going to be lined
Oh,
up.
cool.
He's going to be coming on. We have a lot of cool guests. I'm really excited. Like both shows, I was like, oh my god, it's hitting this point where we're not getting feedback. Like the fact that you guys are commenting
Yeah, that's
and
great.
really enjoying the
Dave,
content,
Chio,
which is it's super huge. But there was a point where that wasn't a thing.
Mhm.
Nobody was commenting. People weren't reaching out. We weren't getting feedback on how we were doing, and it's tough. It's
Yeah.
tough to want to keep hitting the record button.
Like I told you, if one thing wrestlers love to hear,
It's
it's stuff
themselves.
about themselves.
Yeah, but now it's to the point where like even interviews, like I'm booked for the next like 3 months.
That's great.
Yeah, it's just like it just kind of hit all out of nowhere. So
Yeah.
it's really exciting. Yeah.
Okay,
I don't know how we segue off.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's just fine. We're talking about
We're the ADD wrestling podcast. We just kind of, hey, there's a butterfly, and then we chase it, and then we come
So
back.
Pat's doing comments.
so Pat's
Which
doing
it might-
commentary.
Probably not the best place for Pat.
Yeah,
He's doing
no,
commentary at the Legends of Hamburg Fieldhouse.
It wasn't called that yet.
Yes,
It's just a Hamburg.
it's just a Hamburg Fieldhouse. Yes,
and he was one of the legends that made it that.
agreed.
So he is kind of winding down on commentary again. Not English is not the man's first language. He always spoke with that thick French Canadian accent. Never knew how to pluralize a word. And so he just winds up shifting to more behind the scenes. He was what we call back then a road agent, now a producer. He would help with booking, creative stuff. He essentially became Vince McMahon's right hand man. If you're a fan of The Godfather, like mob stuff, he was Vince's consigliere, or however you would say that. He was basically the guy behind the guy.
Yeah.
Like if you needed something to be done, Pat, do it. And even to the point where if you look at WrestleMania, where WrestleMania would have a celebrity at a match, the first WrestleMania, Mr. T is in the match. Who's the special referee? Pat Patterson.
Yeah.
WrestleMania 11, Lawrence Taylor's wrestling Bam Bam Bigelow. Who's the referee? Pat Patterson.
I never noticed that.
Yep, Pat Patterson. because if the guy got lost, Pat could get him right back in place.
Yeah.
And Pat was probably the guy that laid out the match with him. And so he, even down to that, like if you needed something, and this may have something to do with the sexuality too.
Yeah.
If you look at WrestleMania 5, Savage was so infamously protective of Elizabeth, who is blocking everybody, covering Elizabeth and blocking everybody from touching her, Pat Patterson. But yeah, he was just, if you needed somebody to count on, Vince would go to Pat Patterson every time. It was probably neck and neck for a while with him and Monsoon for who was like the number one lieutenant.
Do you think that then transferred over to like a Pritchard?
No, it was Pat until Pat retired.
Yeah.
Pritchard was up there too.
Yeah.
And Jim Ross was up there for a while because Jim Ross, and you always had that director of talent relations role. Jim Ross was that. J.J. Dillon was that for a while.
Cornette was up in like his inner circle of guys.
Russo during the Attitude Era.
Russo.
Yeah, but Pat Patterson was always, if I'm going to war, I need Pat right behind me.
Yeah.
It's
good to have those people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, and one of the big things he did that he always gets credit for now is he helped invent the Royal Rumble. Well, he not helped, he did invent it. He came up with the idea. He came up with the timed entry concept, and
nobody, when they were doing Royal Rumbles or Battle Royals, it was just you'd start, everybody's in there.
Everybody's in it one time.
Yeah. Everyone comes down, and then the match.
Took Savage a couple years to figure it out, but he got it.
They had to rewrite the rules for a second.
People eliminated themselves by accident, going for pins.
Elizabeth,
yeah,
get out of here, eliminating myself. So we got through a lot of the good of Pat Patterson. We got to kind of touch on some of the scandal with him. In the early 90s, there was a very big scandal with a few separate sex scandals. You had Mel Phillips, one of the ring announcers, who was accused of sexual assault. Terry Garvin.
And real quick, the only reason we're bringing this up is because it is part of his story.
Yeah.
And if we are going to talk about the positives, we will. We don't want to be accused of, oh, you only talked about like, because there's always that one or two wrestling fans is like, if you bring up like a name, it's like, oh, well, you didn't talk about, like, we'll use example like a Jericho now. Well, the dirt sheet said Jericho's this and he's that and he politically lies here. So we want to cover all spectrums.
Warrior will be a good one.
Warrior, yes. So we're going to talk about the legend of, and then not so much the scandals to bring them out, but just to say we addressed them.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah. Totally. And so another guy was Terry Garvin, another French Canadian guy, another openly gay man. But he was accused of unwanted advances. And Pat Patterson was accused by a ring announcer, Murray Hodgson. And when this happened in 92, this came out, Pat briefly resigned from the company. He was brought back less than a year later. The other two guys were never heard from again. But Pat Patterson came back. They did a private investigation that found no wrongdoing. The charges were dropped. But you would hear things, and some of it seems like Pat maybe...
Is it a story where possibly somebody was paid off to drop charges?
You never know.
Yeah.
I know people have said that more about Tom Cole, Snuka, Terry Garvin.
Yeah.
But it's possible, and it could be something where, look, he was at a senior level in the workplace, and you shouldn't be making advances toward people who are under you in a workplace.
Mm-hmm.
It happens.
Here's like I said earlier, when they get friendly, I have gay friends that are friendly. They come up and they hug me, and they rub you a little bit and say, "Oh, look at you," but they didn't.
And professional wrestling has never been a typical workplace, especially back then.
That's exactly what I was going to say too. Like, I couldn't imagine a typical job where you're traveling the world with the same group of people over and over.
Look at how many people in WWE are dating each other.
Yeah. Well, like when the whole Paige thing happened, people were like, "Oh, she's a slut." Like, if anything, like, I mean, you're on this. Like, if you're gonna do it, you're gonna do it with people you're comfortable with.
You're a bunch of young, attractive people. Something's gonna happen.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine being in a locker room with that talent.
And you talk about wrestling where everyone, even if they aren't attracted to each other, hey, you look really good. Your muscles look good. Hey, let me see that. You know, like, oh, look at your pants. I like it just happens.
I'm in a world. You know? I'm in a world now. It's like where I walk into a wrestling locker room and everyone's like muscular and look great, and I'm like Otis. You know what I mean? I'm just like, I'll be over here. You know what I mean? Like, I'm the podcast guy.
You know, it's already a place where people are commenting on how you look.
Yeah,
not
like, oh, your pants
sexually,
look, your new gear looks good. You're like,
yeah, are you looking good, brother? You look at your arms. Are you getting bigger? Are you slimming down? Or you like your hair? It's what people would,
because your appearance is huge in wrestling.
Yeah, but people, like, I guess people that are not in wrestling, well, that's gay or whatever. But I mean, that's just how it is.
I just compliment on your body like 4 times this podcast.
That's right.
Yeah,
we should.
Andy looks fucking good, man.
Phenomenal.
Looks sexy.
Yeah. And
is that too much? Sexy too much?
No,
I think you look good, man.
It's just a sexy boy.
Yeah.
Sexy boy.
I always think Kurt Angle, though. Just the sexy Kurt.
So with that, the other thing with that too is some people think because the other allegations came first with Mel Phillips and Terry Garvin, that, oh, we know Pat's gay. Let's just say he did it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they think that's probably
Well,
what.
Well, that's what I was getting at. Like, does it happen to because you're openly out? You just kind of like,
Yeah.
it's easier to.
Yeah, and sometimes you get them people where it's like, well, I can get some money if I say he touched me.
Exactly.
And
There's
he's
people like
gay,
that.
so people will believe
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
And there have been other stories too. Sid would talk about how like little like innocent, like it sounds like flirting more than he like. Oh, he wanted them to come up to his balcony to watch fireworks or something like that, and like says like no.
Sometimes you shoot your shot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
One of the ones was Jim Powers, where Jim Powers kind of made illusions that he was promised a push or even a title if he would have just went up to a hotel room and got undressed and laid on the bed and let whatever happen happen. And
I like that. It was just let whatever happen.
And well, I think they were a little more clear on.
Yeah, but still,
let's keep the lights off.
Yeah, and but who knows? Like,
but
wrestlers lie.
Yeah,
wrestlers will say, "How many wrestlers said, oh, they told me I was going to win the title, but then this happened."
Yeah.
How many times has that happened?
Yeah.
You don't know. We weren't.
Yeah, and and that does happen, but then it's also just guys saying that, or they heard something and they thought they heard that, but that's not what like Bruce Pritchard says. Like McMahon will say, "I could see you winning the world title," and that guy was like, "McMahon said I'm going to win the belt."
Yeah.
No, he didn't.
Yeah. And so after he comes back, Pat is very instrumental in ushering in the new generation, the smaller guys. He was a vocal proponent of guys like Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart, more of the workhorses. And so he stayed along. He stayed along.
Well, thank you, Pat.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Pat.
And he stayed around as one of Vince's most trusted guys. And then he obviously becomes one of the Stooges and is a more comedic figure.
I killed it too.
One of the sad things that happened is in 1998 during King of the Ring, the infamous King of the Ring, where Mankind gets thrown off the cell. It's funny. Bruce Pritchard was kind of running things backstage that day, and he's like, "Where's Pat? Where's Pat?" Because Pat needed to bail him out. Pat left because he found out 3 hours before showtime that his longtime partner Louis Dondero had died of a heart attack that day.
Oh shit!
Everyone said Louis was a great guy too. Jim Ross said Louis was like a barber, so because he'd go over to Pat's house and get his hair cut in the basement.
Oh wow! Yeah. I did not know that.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know until I was doing this that Louis was his manager in Portland.
Yeah, I did not know that either.
And so Patterson kind of fades into retirement. He was getting up there by the end of like 2000s, and he would make these little appearances here and there, and you would see him every now and then. And his health was starting to fail more recently. He was on the show Legends House, and that's where he did publicly come out, even though everybody on that show knew he was.
Yeah, it's like worst kept secret.
In fact, I was watching a thing like Hillbilly Jim was on there because Hillbilly Jim and Doug were on the show, and he goes to Patterson, he's like, all these stories. Why didn't you ever hit on me or Jim? He's like, you're not my type. And so he did come out. He wrote a book.
Jim Duggan, like, how come I never got hit on? Like, listen,
someone's like, Jim, look at you.
And so he did. They say he did start to fight with dementia and things like that toward the end too. And then he did pass away in December 2000 due to complications from a blood clot. But yeah, such a monumental. Like I think the best analogy is he was wrestling's Yoda.
Yeah,
like that is literally what Pat.
But December of 2000,
or figuratively
12. When did he die?
He died. Pat Patterson died in 2020. He died last year.
2020. Yeah,
2020.
Who was it? Him or was it Briscoe with the 24/7 title?
Both.
They both won it.
Yeah. They won it from each other.
Yeah, I think they lost.
They had the hardcore evening gown match in at King of the Ring 2000, which is what I was saying earlier. Pat Patterson won the Wrestling Observer Best Match of the Year for the Alley Fight in 1981, and he won the Worst Match of the Year for the hardcore evening gown match in 2000.
A goofball entertainment.
It was a comedy.
I mean,
no, I'm saying during the Raw 100, didn't one of them?
Oh, it was Pat Patterson.
Yeah,
Pat Patterson was a 24/7 champion.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I thought you meant the hardcore title.
No, as the 24/7.
Yeah, he beat somebody. I think he lost it to like Medusa or something.
Yeah.
Didn't he lose it like off camera because he didn't?
Yeah, because he couldn't take a bump. So yeah. But yeah, that was I think his last TV appearance too.
Was he the one that went into the limo and then came out as the $1 Million Man as a champion?
Wasn't that Medusa? No. I think Pat may have went in the limo. No. DiBiase bought the title from Alundra Blaze. Then he went in the limo and somebody pinned him in the limo, like Drake Maverick or somebody.
I'm just trying to remember how Patterson got a hold of it.
That belt ain't even on TV anymore, is it?
No.
They've done more with it on like Old Spice commercials.
Yeah,
I would want to see the TV title more than I want to see this Alexa Bliss angle they're doing.
Oh, it's awful.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
I love her, but it's awful.
Chio says, I love Andy's Christmas cards. Andy's Christmas cards are legendary.
Yeah,
Man.
that's right.
Absolutely legendary.
I'm trying to look up the.
That's sideways. But I don't talk anything about that. But
How much has that
There's
grown for you?
3.
Like, I mean, like
it went from
every year you have to send it out to another group of people.
Yeah. I think the first time I only got like 30,
Mhm.
you know, and then last year was 100, and I actually had the most left last year. I had 5 left.
Really?
Yeah. So as I get bigger in wrestling, there's more. I want a card. But like some people, like, I don't know you. I'm not really gonna send you a card.
But like even like the podcast people, like
Yeah.
like Tori's
So
on that
yeah,
list.
it grows,
Yeah.
and you know.
Brian's gonna be on the list. Did you get the last one?
I've got the last 2.
Yeah, the last 2.
So yeah, I'm. Wait, I have a character for this year, but I always am taking pictures for the next year. I need a character to take pictures this year for next year's card.
Here we go. I have to.
I have to. I have monthly. So.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Pat Patterson beat Drake Maverick. I think Drake like slipped and fell or something.
Okay.
Briscoe beat Patterson off screen. And then Kelly beat Gerald Briscoe. And then winds up with Medusa. And then $1 Million Man buys it off of her.
Yeah.
And then Drake Maverick beats him in the limo. So he's like the whole thing was like he started and ended with the title.
Yeah.
So I think they could bring that back and say 24/7 title is only active when the show is happening. So from 8 o'clock till 10.
Oh, I like when he was winning it like on Instagram.
But that's okay. But like, you gotta put some limit on it.
Yeah, like when they were doing the flight to Saudi Arabia and they were boarding this guy, like it changed titles like 4 times.
Or he could just say, "I'm gonna put this title on the line for the next hour."
Yeah.
Currently, it's Akira Tozawa as the champion, and he has been for 24 days.
Wow, that's probably the longest reign ever.
Gronkowski is still the longest reigning champion.
Yeah,
believe it or not.
Yeah, I just remember like for me the biggest thing with Pat and is as him and Briscoe as the goons.
Yeah, the Stooges. Yeah, they're so funny.
It was your childhood. They would go out. Vince would send them out like his right hand man, and would take a stunner or a finisher, and then they would leave the ring.
And I'll always remember because I was there. But it was.
Did they win a tag team championships together?
No,
I don't think so.
I thought they might have had like a bum like.
And see in wrestling, stooge is someone like that goes and tells the dish to like someone that shouldn't know it.
Okay.
You know, so like if I'm say to you, hey, we're gonna push Shawn Michaels and give him the title, and then you run and go tell Meltzer, I'm like, oh, Tony stooged it off. So that's why the stooge was like an inside insult that became like a character.
I was a stooge tonight when it came to the Legends Maverick.
You're stooging off everything.
I stooged that up pretty bad.
So like one of the legendary stooges is Terry Taylor, because I always said when Terry Taylor would hear something, he'd go tell everybody.
Yeah.
But Pat Patterson had the thing where the first time like Raw beat Nitro in 83 weeks was a show in Philly where they said at the very beginning, at the end of the night, it's going to be Steve Austin against Vince McMahon. And in the back, they're showing like Pat teaching Vince all these holds and stuff. And that was from the Montreal Screwjob. It was Patterson and Briscoe teaching Michaels, like, if Brett tries to do this, do this. And if like, Brett would have killed him. If
that's what they always said. Like when people go, we tried to teach Sean, but Brett would have took Sean.
Yeah. Listen, in a ring,
life,
Sean is amazing.
Yeah.
But when it comes to a real fight, Brett will fuck you up. Yeah. Brett was a legit badass.
That's what even Cornette was saying. He couldn't do nothing to Brett.
Yeah. Even though I am a through and through Sean guy, I do give Brett his due. But and then another thing with Patterson is every time he was on screen and he would be in underwear, he had to put the yellow piss thing in the front.
It was good for comedy.
And he wanted to put the brown on the back, but they said on TNT or USA you couldn't show like poop.
Yes.
So he couldn't put shit stains in his underwear, but he completely wanted to.
Now you see why Vince liked him so much.
Yeah.
He had the same sense of humor.
I'm right there with him. You put an old man on TV and he has a shit stain in his underwear, I'm popping. That's my thing right there. Yeah, I don't know, man. I was always a fan. Obviously, we just recently lost him. Hands down, he was the first ever champion to a belt I truly love. I've always been a fan of the IC title.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people like it.
For me, I mean, I was a Sean fan. I'm a huge, like I said, I'm a big Sean guy. But with Sean winning his first IC championship, like, oh, this means something. You know what I mean? Like,
it was usually the start of your singles push. Your ascent to the top.
Mm-hmm.
Or for a while, it was the worker title.
Yeah, you put on the guy who's going to have good matches. A lot of times, that's what the TV title falls for.
Yeah. Between you and John.
Yeah.
We circle back.
Title.
I see what you did there. Trying to put yourself over.
I'm talking about Arn Anderson,
son of a bitch.
Steve Regal.
John's going to go for that 15-minute title withdrawal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else with Pat?
That's pretty much that's the story.
All right. Well, that'll do it. We just hit the 2-hour mark. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you hung out this entire time, we're still trying to find the groove here. We want to throw some daily stuff in there, our weekly news. But the good news is we are back weekly.
Yes.
So we will be back again next Friday. We do have the Patreon episodes. So what we're gonna do from here on out with the other shows even too. Monday will be welcome back. Tuesday until they're done, I'm gonna air all the Patreon episodes.
Okay, cool.
So every Tuesday you can check out the Patreon episode. Some of them are old. Like the first one, we actually released the Patreon episode today. So today, episode 101 came out. This is gonna be 102, where we talk about the Royal Rumble.
Okay.
And then all the Patreons are going to release from now till they're done. And then we just go to weekly shows. We do have a bunch of episodes for Truth Behind Illusion and Not Cool that were Patreon. Patreon for Not Cool in High School will air every Tuesday till they're done. And then Truth Behind Illusion will be every Wednesday until they're done. Or no, Wednesday for Not Cool, Thursday for Truth Behind Illusion. And when those Patreon episodes are done, they're done. And then we go back to interviews whenever I get a guest. Every Friday night at 9 o'clock will be Tornado Tag. We may throw in an occasional Saturday if a guest can't do a Friday. But for the most part, that's going to be the lineup. And then Bangin' Beers live one Sunday, taped the other Sunday. So so we're going to do bi-week. So I have a Sunday off here and there.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to like make schedules where we can throw stuff in the back catalog. So if we're going to be off on a Friday, we can quick record a second episode when we get off and then air it next Friday or something like that. But that is our plan. So we're gonna hopefully that 3-show rotation kind of keeps us in the more active and we can talk about a lot more stuff. Huge thank you to the Pro Wrestling Scorecards. They not only made us a public faction, so if you want to compete against us and wrestling pay-per-views, you can compete against us for the NXT in your house.
Another card just went up too. Against all odds? Is that
like Impact?
Yeah, I think Impact.
Yeah.
I'm the film out tomorrow morning
when you win, they added a new feature where you
become the
champion. Become the champion of that promotion. So so I'm currently the NWA champion.
10,000 gold.
I looked at it and didn't put you yet, but it was only like an hour after paper.
Yeah. So I am I hold the 10 pounds of gold.
Who has the WWE title? Austin?
Probably Austin. No, Brian won the last one.
I have the AEW title.
Are you the AEW champion? So if you want to join, go to digital.pro wrestling scorecards, sign up, join our faction, play along with us. It's a really, really, really good time. It's a lot of fun. You pick your winners, and we're going to start doing more prediction shows for that. So we probably won't do Takeover because we won't have time to do it before then.
Yeah,
but
this weekend.
Yeah, so maybe we'll find a way to sneak it in there maybe Saturday night when I get home or something.
And it is prowrestlingscorecards.com.
Well, if you go to digital.prowrestling,
but I mean, you can get to the
so that
is Impact Events Against All Odds is up now, and a Takeover in your house.
Yeah, I guess they're doing Kenny and Moose, but it's going to be shot at Daly's place.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And then not only that, we're actually us three are listed as pro members.
Yeah.
And
we've been there since the beginning, just about.
Yeah, and
the beginning of the digital. Yeah, we used to do on paper.
And then not only that, when you see our names on there, it says by us TTP.
That's right.
So we are branded on the page, which is exciting because we have been there since virtually the virtual start of it.
Yeah.
And now we're seeing more and more different podcasts jump on there because now it's like podcast versus podcast. I know Putting Your Over podcast is on there. So make a page for your podcast and a faction, invite us. And we can compete. Like, what podcast can pick the best matches? And we have a little friendly competition. It'll be a good time. But even if you're not a podcaster, you're just a wrestling fan, join in there. See if you become the champion. Maybe we'll do something where if you win, we'll send you a sticker. Like if you beat one of us at an upcoming show, I'll send you a Tornado Tag sticker or something, and you can gloat. Maybe we'll make like a sticker. Maybe I get an artist to make a sticker of just an image of a title, and it'll be a sticker. And then if you win, we send you the sticker.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. So AEW is the BPB. Is that you, Brian?
That's me. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Impact is still the PA pile driver. Indy is vacant, but they haven't had any Indy cards yet. NFL vacant, but they also haven't had that. New Japan is Austin.
I think NFL
is still vacant, but you will win it because you were the highest.
Yeah.
ROH is vacant because they haven't had any.
I was like the 6th overall person in that too.
Chris McNamara.
Oh, from Welcome Back.
Yeah, him. And then it has Stefan Nisig, Nisg.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. 33. It has 2 of them there, so I don't know who has that.
Yeah.
There, but.
I think it just shows you if you've won a championship.
Yeah.
Yeah. It has
I don't
how
know
many
if that's like the reigning champion.
It does like times 2.
I'm sure they'll eventually.
Listen, they've added a lot more features in a short amount of time, so they are working on stuff.
Yeah.
I think the NFL they might do a pick'em. Like each week, you'll do like a pick'em for NFL.
Oh, remember they did the Super Bowl
and the Super Bowl. Yeah. So who knows? Maybe there'll be a lot of fun stuff.
It's fun. It's free. So it's free. It's fun. See 'em.
random improv shows to surprise people. Yeah, that definitely can. That could be a thing.
You never know.
You never know with us. And then thank you, man, for
Like I was thinking, we should probably, if we can, do an E3 afterwards.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
If it's just you and me, just talk about because we're the only ones in video games.
Yeah, I'm down
Just,
for that.
like what we think.
Like maybe Sunday night.
Yeah, what we think of what was announced.
Okay, or we can do maybe after Tornado Tag next Friday.
Oh, there we go.
We'll go live on the Not Cool in High School page, and we'll talk just because by that time you'll see all the Nintendo stuff too.
Yeah.
And
when it's all said and done.
Yeah, well, I'm cool with that. Like, I don't think we'll record like Not Cool in High School
because we don't have to review anything. It's just what we do.
Yeah.
What do you think about this game?
I even told Nikolai and stuff, like, even though we're not doing Not Cool, if you want to come over here like on a Friday night or a Saturday and bring your box and we'll still film it,
Oh, okay.
I'm cool with that too. You know what I mean? You're here, so I mean, maybe we'll do just like the IWP network will still have content going to it, and we'll do our unboxings there.
And it could just be like, we'll keep the Facebook alive by posting dorky stuff.
Yeah, all the community pages will still be alive for those shows, and hopefully they will come back. Just I have to get day shift at my job.
Yeah.
Because it's just really tough right now. But
no one is upset.
What are you wearing today? What's your wrestling
Rose.
t-shirt?
It's her first AEW shirt.
I like that shirt a lot.
What does it say? Beat your ass.
Beat your ass.
Yeah. So
you and Niall have that awesome Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, I know.
Is that a PPW?
Yes, it was a PPW.
I'm taking my hoodie off here.
Oh my God!
I'm wearing my Pretzel Day office shirt. What are you wearing as I disrobe?
Gold blue. Gold blue.
Yes, I think I'd like to win several matches quickly.
What's that?
Jeff Logan. Whoever it would be in succession to be after this opponent.
I am wearing a tag team I fell in love with at Camp Leapfrog. This is the Runway.
Wonderful team.
Tyler Klein and Calvin Couture. I thought they were very good.
Yeah.
First time I seen them.
Great look, good in the ring, very entertaining.
Yes.
They can do comedy. They can be serious. They can be heel. They can be face. I like them. I like them a lot. We always say that AEW has a great tag team division, but man, there's a lot of really good tag teams. There's tons of independent tag teams that are really, really talented.
NWA should start bringing some.
Yeah.
Well, hey, they're getting her.
Yeah, a lot of fun stuff. But thank you guys so much for the love. Continue, Dave, Chio. Thank you for hanging out. If you are watching this,
who the hell's Dave?
Yeah. If you are watching this later, or if you're in your car, listen. I just want to put one public service announcement out real fast before I have one more plug for you. Then for you to do. If you're listening to this and you are a professional wrestling fan or independent wrestling fan, or other people who do things that are creative, whether they're game streamers, musicians, artists, podcasters, professional wrestlers, a simple like or a comment on a video, it really does mean the world for someone who takes time out of their time to create something.
It does, yeah.
The numbers are there. So I know people listen because we have great numbers, but it is really, really, it means a lot to someone who puts time in because my biggest thing, I'm just going to be completely upfront and candid as I can be. When I do this network, it's not just me. It's not like I'm doing a solo show and I can do it on my own time. Andy's taking time out of his day. Brian's taking time out of his day. Not Cool in High School had Nikolai and Bree taking time out of their day. Tori, when she was here, is taking time out of their day. Banging Beers, everyone's coming, taking their time away from their family to come here and record. And if you're listening to it and you truly enjoy it, that just saying, hey man, I really like that. Like a lot of people are like, man, I'm really bummed we're losing Not Cool and TBI. I'm not saying it would have changed anything, but it is good to know that people know I did now like you are listening, and it gives me more inspiration to when I get my life back to normal. I'm willing to take that time out of my personal life to record because you do enjoy it.
That's why every time I watch a YouTube video of people I like, I always like it.
Yeah.
Like right before the video's done, I like the video. All right, when I click on it, I like it because I know the person.
Yeah.
I've been watching videos, so I know I like the content, so I just like it. That's it.
I do the same thing. I always try to like, and then I'll throw a quick comment on like, hey, great video.
It's a little hard for comments when you're watching on a smart TV. I don't think you can.
Okay, that makes sense.
Sometimes if I really have to, I bring it up on my iPad and I just type in a quick.
That 2 seconds means the world to that creator.
Because a lot of times they say, hey, what do you think about this? And maybe I just say, I think this character sucks or this character is awesome. That's just some interaction. I'm like, look at all these comments.
It means a lot to someone who creates.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to really get out to the people. And like I said, I'm part of a team now we're creating of just podcasters in the area, wrestling podcasters in the area. And I'm just trying to really drive that point home that we can support each other because we're better with numbers. You know what I mean? if I have an audience of 1,000 people and another podcast has an audience of a completely different 1,000 people and he has another 600 people and you have 200
Yeah,
people
you just get 5 people from his, you know?
and we all share each other's content and help each other get over, we can all grow as one.
Because
You
you'll
know what I
get
mean?
some crossover. You won't get everybody. You might get some people.
Yeah. Because our overall goal is obviously we want to talk wrestling, but we want to put over promotions. We do the history stuff, so we always try to bring that nostalgia angle because I feel like there was too many people doing
Daily
weekly show
Yeah.
reviews.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we're trying to be a little different, but we're trying to bring that camaraderie together. And do you have any other shows or thing you want to plug wrestling wise?
Not right now. Just the PPW and the RCW show. Like you said. And then the Legends of Hamburg. There's nothing.
By the way, that same night, July 24th, in Atlantic City, New Jersey, Matt Cardona against
Oh,
Nick Gage.
Jesus,
for the
I can't go
same
there.
night.
I can't.
It was just announced.
We're gonna get a live. It'll be like what was it called?
We had the monitor in the back.
Yeah. No, that's gonna be for the crowd too.
Yeah.
But closed circuit. Closed circuit.
A closed circuit.
They, I guess Nick Gage just did a run-in at a like that major wrestling podcast thing at Jimmy's Seafood.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's official. Yeah, Matt Cardona and Nick Gage on the 24th.
So not only does Brian work really hard at promoting and doing show prep for this show, which I'm very, very, very thankful for because he does a fantastic job. And when I say names like Bill Abner, I truly, truly think Apter. Sorry,
Our Bill Abner.
either one.
Little Abner.
But
Ed
I'm saying,
Asner, he's going to be in
Yeah,
pod.
Ed
Go
Asner.
on.
but what I'm saying is people who have general love for professional wrestling and just really good wrestling minds. I think the more people who hear of you, Brian, and the more people who tune into this podcast and subscribe to not just this one, but your other podcast, you do have a great wrestling mind, and your love for this
thanks.
entertainment is very, very high. And behind the scenes, he has a computer in front of him, but I would say probably 80% of what you hear coming
It's
at him.
there, so I know my place. Basically.
Yes, but this is all off the top of his head. Like
a lot of it is coming from upstairs.
Yeah, he's a fucking wrestling guru, and I'm very, very thankful and lucky to have him a part of this network. But you also not only just do hard work here, but you also run your own podcast.
I do. Project210.com. You can find the Murder My Dude, True Crime and Comedy, and then Pedantic, which is a little more of like a hodgepodge, whatever we feel like talking about that week.
And you always find a way to sneak a wrestling reference.
Oh no, always. It just happens. It's involuntary at this point. I know we kind of had a little bit of a staggered release and some stuff, so I don't think we're having anything coming out this weekend, but next weekend, next Sunday. So that'll be right toward the.
I'm excited for your next topic.
It will be if you ever saw the show on Hulu, The Act.
Yes, I have.
Gypsy Rose Blanchard will be our next.
You know about this?
Topic.
I think you talked about before, but
So
I don't
Gypsy
know.
Rose was this girl who was her mom and the dad got divorced. The mom's a little cuckoo bananas, has some mental health issues. Put her daughter on feeding tubes, in a wheelchair, and all of these insane medical things, and would just bounce from doctor to doctor to doctor, and would pretty much tell the doctor and be really persistent of what her daughter has.
Oh God.
Here, she has none of these things.
Yeah, she was in a wheelchair, no hair, but she just shaved her head. She's like, "Oh, it's all gonna fall out. You have leukemia."
Yeah, this mother was pretty much making her daughter be sick, but
Yeah,
the daughter
get
was
money.
like, "I'm not really sick though, mom." Like the story pretty much like this girl would wait till her mom to go to bed, and then she would get up out of her wheelchair and walk around the house.
Oh God.
And people were like, "What?" Like, and these people who were like, people are donating her money. Her mom was making money off her daughter being sick.
Yeah.
And the story, that's only just the beginning. That story gets crazier.
It sure does.
Yeah.
And that'll be not this Sunday, but next Sunday. That'll be on project210.com.
I'm
Just
excited.
follow Murder My Dude wherever and you'll find it.
If you click the links below, there is a link for not only our stuff, but Andy's t-shirts, blue and gold t-shirts. Soon to be Andy solo shirts coming soon.
Yeah, I'm not putting them on prostitutes. Fuck prostitutes.
Well, Jesus, it is expensive.
If you can message me and get one for way cheaper.
Or I will help Andy make a Teespring account.
Yeah,
and you can get it
cheaper.
you can get a fucking fanny pack with you on it.
I know, that'd be pretty cool.
I'll help you build that. But there is not only that, the Project Humanoid links are below, so you can follow. You can go and check out Murder My Dude and Pedantic on there, as well as High Tension Wrestling Network links. I owe them big time because I'm a fucking idiot. I apologize. I love you guys to death. Thank you all for tuning in. This is Tornado Tag Podcast on the IWEP Network, and here is Billy Trey. We're out of here.